Didn't notice that shit had no sound on it.
I had to take the music off because they snatched it down. We
should make a song.
We should make a song.
We should make it our own intro. Everything homegrown.
Well, he raps.
Yeah, we all rap.
Me got bars.
I'll bebop.
Yeah.
You done wrote a 16 before then.
I'm on my third mixtape.
Right, 16 for the last 6 months. Nigga. I got hella heat. I'm Joe Budden Jr. out this bitch.
Yeah, you got the
Got
material.
a whole
You
drink
got the
out
material.
here.
Damn right. My shit fire.
Yeah, you do the Joe.
In my head, my album is low key fire though. It's definitely it's definitely some Drake mixed with a little bit of Joe Budden. Who else? It's another
T-Pain
nigga
on there.
I'm
you
doing
definitely got some
little Key
T-Pain
Sweat. I'm
in
doing a
there.
little begging.
Little begging.
Yeah, it's a little Key Sweat in there.
All
That
right,
shit's
man.
solid.
We back. Deep Opinionated Podcast. I have my guys with me. Ty is in the building. Me.
Big fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, this podcast is about breakups. We're gonna do a little new thing where we're gonna be talking about current events a little bit, so we can be involved in what's going on around us. So we'll do those first, and then we'll get to the breakup subject. So in the media, first thing we'll talk about is Ayesha Curry. She said
Steph Curry's wife.
Steph Curry's wife. She said that she feels insecure because she doesn't get attention from other men. Let me say this. When she first said it, I wish somebody could have been in the room and took a picture of me. Because I was like, what? But I understand what she meant. But I just feel like she just said it the worst way possible. Because and I know the women was riding with her and saying, oh, she can feel how she want to feel. True. But once you acknowledge how someone feels, you then have to, you don't celebrate the fact that they acknowledge how they feel. You address how they feel. If you feel insecure, you don't celebrate that. You have to let that person know, hey, this is a problem that needs to be fixed. We don't celebrate the fact that you just voiced how you feel. That's not a celebration. For growth, you have to acknowledge that is insecurity. Insecurity holds us back. So that's something that needs to be fixed. So you need to talk to somebody. I feel like she should have said that to the world, because there's no way that blogs, social media, they're not accepting information to be productive. They want a headline, and then you just bring in everybody into your marriage, and now everybody's viewing your marriage from a different type of way. Now you're defending yourself to the public. Like, I don't think nobody should have knew that except for her therapist and her husband.
I don't really pay attention to him like that, but ain't she out in the public though? Don't she got her like own cooking show or cooking book or something?
She's in commercials. Like I
thought I saw her in a commercial too.
But you know the problem with that whole situation is it's not so much what she said. It's more about who she is, like, and then who she's attached to. Your husband makes a gazillion dollars over his contract period and all that. He's one of the most, if not one of the most prolific faces in the NBA right now. Would you say? Like, he's like top tier
Most
NBA
known
player.
face, probably.
Yeah, rich. His brand is in and of itself a thing. So you're now not your own entity. You're attached to another person that's, otherworldly big and shit like that. So now when you make those type of comments and shit, it's gonna be ripped apart because of who your spouse is. And it's like, we look at you a certain kind of way. We don't view you as somebody that we want to be. You're not like a Kim Kardashian. You're not like one of these other lusty spouses attached to another entity that's bigger than life itself. Like, we look at you as wholesome. You cook, you take care of your family, you have kids, you have a religious encompassing to your relationship. Like, men aren't looking at you as somebody that we're pining over or we're after and shit like that. Plus, we respect your union. Like, we see what you have with Steph. We understand like the value of that. Like, that's like looking at like a Will and a Jada, or like a Tisha Campbell and what's her husband before they got a divorce, before they got 45.
I forgot.
What's my man name from?
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's like we're looking at that. It's like it's so much moral fiber shit there that nobody wants to like poke or prod at, because we see the value in that relationship. Like, men ain't sitting around just throwing themselves in your inbox. Like, it's an unspoken respect.
And that's what I think a lot of women didn't understand, is that it's not that a man is not trying to holler at you because you're not beautiful. She's a beautiful woman.
Gorgeous.
It's we put you in the category with Alicia Keys, Michelle Obama,
right,
Laura London,
respectable women.
Nobody.
You approach
nobody's in Michelle Obama DMs like, yo, what's up with that? You know what I'm saying?
You saw all the backlash that Kodak Black was getting about what he said about Lauren Bright and the Nipsey's passing and shit like that. Right. Now, I understand that came from a place of us being hurt and nobody had even a chance, a week, to move on from us dealing with that, such a tragic loss. That you would be that type of nigga to be so crass that you would want to be shooting your shot at somebody who's still mourning and grieving. But he'd have said that with Nipsey still been alive. I think niggas would have ripped him a new asshole. They still would have been like, come on, nigga, fuck out of here. Like, you see that black love, that man love that queen. Like, ain't nobody trying to, like, don't try to tear that asunder because of your own agenda and shit like that. So any nigga that would be so bold enough to, like, holler at a Aisha Curry or something like that, you know, even if it's just for her attention's sake to big her up or something like that, the media, the public, everybody's we're gonna look at that nigga like a crab, like, bro, fuck out of here, like, you see what they got going on, like,
look at Ghost Ass when he kissed Beyonce twice. You saw that?
No. He like kissed on the cheek twice.
So
niggas like, fuck out of here, what the fuck? Don't kiss Beyonce, nigga.
So he walks up to Beyonce, right, and he kisses her on the cheek, which was cool. So now he kissed someone on the cheek and then hug him, right? But after he kissed her on one side of the cheek and hugged her, he came back for a second kiss. But she wasn't expecting the second kiss. So his lips was like right here on her. So it looked wild crazy. It was on, the camera was there, like in the moment, right, like there. And it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, okay.
Like, what are you doing?
Well, you said the first kiss was cool, and I think when you see that you see that relationship, you see that like how much it's epitomized by so many people, public figures, just us as a masses and shit like that. I think the first kind of like kiss on the cheek was out of line because it's like we're looking at a union between two people that everybody highly respects and all that. There should be certain boundaries that even people that are close to them should be able to, you know, operate within. It's like that's Jay joint. Like, there's nothing wrong with a hug, you know what I'm saying? But to have to, like, if it's a female, like, women kiss each other on the cheek all the time, so like that. Nobody's gonna like bat an eye about it. It's just, you know, women giving each other affirmations of affection. But you're another man, this woman's married and all that other shit. It looks away. It look like you look like you're doing something that you have no business doing.
You want my honest opinion? I feel like he was nervous and shit.
Afterwards?
No.
In the moment.
In the moment.
Yeah, I can see him being nervous.
You're about to walk up to Beyonce. I'm pretty sure in that moment, any human being is having an experience. You ain't even got to be a Beyonce fan. If in that moment, maybe that's his first time meeting Beyonce.
I doubt that. It's
possible.
It looked too.
It's possible.
Too casual. You don't think he was like?
That's why.
Because he's known. So sometimes they approach each other like that.
Perception.
Because you know who I am. I'm Ghost. Yeah. Everybody knows who I am. So he approaches it with the, you know what I'm saying. But I feel like he was just nervous. And he did some weird shit while he was nervous.
Well, I mean,
I think it's.
I wouldn't know how to greet Beyonce.
Yeah, I don't think I'd feel. I
don't even know if I would like feel okay like shaking her hand.
Yeah, how do you greet someone you know? Because if you know somebody, then your greeting is going to be different.
But what if you don't know them?
Right, but you just said that they're
familiarity because we're in certain circles.
They seem to be familiar, right? And I'm saying if he typically greets her with a kiss on the cheek, and maybe he was maybe he forgot to give her a second kiss on the other cheek. You know how French people kiss people on the other side of the cheek? See, that's why I don't think it's disrespectful for anybody to kiss Beyonce on the cheek. I think it would be disrespectful for somebody to violate that relationship in a way like Kodak Black did.
I get what you're saying.
While, you know, Nip was alive, definitely that's different. But as far as customs go, he probably do that all the time, and he was, you know what I mean? It was probably
because he's happy married man. I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure he didn't mean no like.
And also, I don't think she was expecting the second kiss, so because how she turned, it made it weird. But
she was like, "Get the fuck out of here, Ghost! Like, you got your one kiss, like move around, like you don't need a second kiss."
Right, but yeah, so like that's the Aisha Curry shit. I just feel like that's not something to tell the world.
My thing,
because it's nothing positive is going to come from telling the world. They're not going to take you serious. It's going to be the memes, the blogs.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
Because you said you got backlash when you said something.
I got backlash, but I seen more women tearing her apart. I seen women ripping her to shreds.
But again,
that's funny because
she's not wrong. Like, she's not wrong for feeling that way. I don't think she's wrong for feeling that way. I think she felt that way, and what I think is she probably already realized that however she was feeling, she shouldn't be feeling that way. That's probably why she was comfortable enough to say it on TV.
But that's human nature, though. So she probably felt inclined to say it because it's just like she feels that somebody is going to be able to relate to what it is that I'm
exactly. That's exactly why she said it.
It's mad.
Once you realize that you get past that, you free.
My only problem with this shit is like with the media and the way clickbait is so prevalent in the world today. Is like there's no context to the conversation when you only have a 30-second clip. Like prior to that, I went back and watched that entire Red Table shit. Like prior to the lead up of her saying what she was saying, there was more in-depth dialogue about relationships and
free to share
women who are attached to certain types of men and the way that they have to move and the way they have to carry themselves. So I can understand after seeing the entire shit, her feeling the way that she felt. Like now maybe it was said with a little bit, she probably could have. And I hate to say that because I wouldn't want to tell somebody how they should convey their feelings and emotions around their insecurities. Her having the insecurity about being, attached to this larger-than-life entity that is Steph Curry, and then still not, having her own brand, her own name, makeup line, cooking line, all that other shit, and still not being able to get that same type of praise and attention. And I'm not saying that she's jealous of what her dude is getting, but I can see her being like, feeling kind of minuscule in the equation of their relationship, that dynamic where women are like pining after this dude, men praising.
Well, then learn how to shoot threes from 40 feet. Then
that's a fact.
You want to be because like that's another thing. It's another thing I pointed out though. People love Steph Curry because of what he does with a basketball, not because he's a sex symbol on GQ. Right. He's never nobody's MCM. You never see that. So people love him because of what he does with a basketball.
I think people love him because of who he is to her.
That too, but whatever he is, that's what makes him that. Women don't look at Steph Curry like they look at niggas like Idris Elba or whatever whoever they make their WCW. So it's like we love him because of what he does with a basketball. She's talking about women coming on to him, but they're coming onto his fame, not to Steph Curry. So it's not about him being a sex symbol and girls coming onto him. It's fame. You're gonna get women are attracted to fame.
And then what she want a regular nigga to do as far as like giving her likes and attention? Shorty, your nigga makes $35 million a year. The nigga can shoot a jumper from 40 feet. Like what I'm gonna tell you, what I'm gonna say to you that's gonna be appealing to you, void of your situation. How I'm gonna come off as like, even if you just want that attention for the sake of saying that you get it, like we already as men understand that you look at certain kind of men and you size yourself up when it comes to other people, even if it doesn't make you feel insecure because of what a man does, who he is, his stature, how people feel about him, his accolades and shit like that. But you are like looking at him like, all right, this dude is like on top of his shit, so I can respect that. But if I'm looking at this nigga and he is who he is in that arena, why would I put myself in a position? Because A, I respect your union, and then B, your man is who your man is. Like other men, I think other men are aware of that.
What niggas is hollering at Ayesha Curry and really thinking they got a chance?
That's why I don't think any were. I think she might have been coming from a place like everybody has so much respect for my husband that they don't even holler at me, and she's trying to,
I'm not getting attention.
So you're mad about being respected?
No, I'm saying I'm just trying to think about what was going on from her perspective. I feel like I can see why she could be jealous. And jealous ain't a bad thing. I don't like when we say like somebody jealous, that's a bad thing. It's okay to be jealous. When you love somebody, you can be jealous. Whether you date somebody, like somebody, friends with somebody, you work with somebody, they get the promotion you thought you was going to. You can be jealous. That emotion is going to be jealousy. We gotta call a spade a spade. You don't have to deal with that jealousy a certain way by being petty or doing something, acting out. But you can fit. That's that emotion. Ain't nothing wrong with feeling it. And so for her to say that, I completely understand that, but I feel from a respect point, she was probably shouting him out, saying, my husband he's such a great husband that people respect him so much that nobody would even, when they walk by me, they put their eyes at the ground. They don't even want to look at me. Like, that's how much respect they have for him. Because they might not necessarily have it for her. Because like you said, we fell in love with Steph because of what he does with the basketball. But the fans fell in love with Steph because of Steph's daughter, and the press came in the post conference interview.
The husband
when he had the wife and they had marriage, and then she has her own cooking show. So now this Curry name has turned, and on top of that, he doesn't cuss, he doesn't smoke, he don't drink, you don't see him out. He's a family man, Christian, and all that good stuff, right? So that's what everybody fell in love with. So I mean, for them to have that much respect, not to holler at her, I think that says something too.
To me, that's admirable. That's not
right. It's more about
frowned upon.
It's more about who he is and less about who she feels like she should be in that situation or that dynamic. Like you still are like highly coveted. You still are like highly praised.
Yeah,
even if it's not the outward, like on the timeline, people ain't just DMing you and dropping mad comments under every pic that you post with you and your kids and your husband. Like people are looking at your union, and there's so much appreciation for that shit. Like, why would you want to come in and be the type of person that would want to assault on that by saying things out of context? You want to respect that man's way.
Yeah, when you scroll through somebody's pics and you see somebody's pics and they all family pics and they having a good time, that don't even make you want to like jump in the inbox. That's probably not even fruitful.
Right. It's like come on, my nigga. Why would you want to like? I feel like that creates bad karma. Like in and of itself, if you could even be that predatorial that you would want to. Holler at somebody that you know is already happy. Like that, it's not even about them speaking about being happy. They're displaying happiness and family from like some Huxtable type shit on a daily. How could you feel comfortable with trying to ruin that?
This nigga got millions, bro.
You can't compete.
What the fuck are you gonna do?
You can.
She got his kids and they got millions. And I get it. They've been together since high school. I don't want to talk about it.
You can go down.
She might be tired of that nigga. We see Steph Curry. She see somebody she just been with for a long ass time.
There's a comfortability that sets in with every relationship, and I don't know. Like we not in their bedroom, so we can't make assumptions about how they keep things, spicy or kind of like keeping like the lust, keeping the attraction. Like for her, it may just be the fact that she's living on a high through his experience and what he's going through, all these multiple championships, MVPs, all that other shit. Like she can just appreciate the fact that her husband is so highly heralded that she gets some type of gratification for that. He's a provider, but he's also very accomplished. But it's like at the same time, that human instinct is that. I mean, I think maybe she was looking at it from the aspect of who wants somebody don't nobody else want, and like nobody wants me other than my husband. But that's not what it is. People see you, we see a value, but we care more about the value of that family dynamic, that relationship. That's the most important.
And I'm sure she hasn't. This wasn't, I'm sure, the first time she's had this conversation. She's probably had this conversation with her mom. I mean, if you look at Del Curry, he played in the league. Steph mom, you seen him y'all watch the game.
Right.
You seen him in the crowd.
And his shit bad.
Right?
She get attention though.
I'm saying this though. She probably felt that same emotion at some point in time when Del was.
I doubt
a knockdown shooter.
I doubt it. You know why I say I doubt it? Because Aisha is not Del Curry's wife. You ever seen Del Curry's wife?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking amazing, bro. That's another thing. We're not looking at we're not looking at Aisha like that because Aisha looks like Steph.
Right. But my point is this: it's the right. If you would have given them social media, and
she'd have been thirsty over.
They had been now. Right,
she'd have been thirsty over, bro.
So you think that if Aisha Curry was hotter than what she already is, because we already said that she's beautiful. So y'all saying
I'm not saying she's attractive because of how she looks. I'm saying she's attractive because of who she is in a relationship.
So if she was hot or hotter, then she would definitely get hit on more.
She'd be Kim Kardashian,
regardless of their union.
Yes.
So the fact that she looks less attractive.
She's not less attractive. She is a very attractive female.
She presents her image is wholesome.
Very wholesome.
She don't dress like
She doesn't wear
So
like.
what if
Sexy
Del
with
Curry?
cleavage and all that
What if
stuff.
Steph's mom has that same persona?
She's just gorgeous though. Like these
Right,
are
so that's
these,
my point.
But
That's
like
what
so,
I'm-
Aisha is more like the girl next door. Fine. It's Daryl's wife is more like supermodel. We go into like big events. She's swimsuit model of the month type. Like she's a different type of attractive, and she alludes. I mean, she exudes. I'm sorry, she exudes sex appeal without having to be sexy. She didn't have to. She didn't have to carry herself a certain kind of way. She can carry herself just like Aisha, and you still be more inclined to be attracted to her than you would be Aisha, because she's attractive. She's just not. She's not. Let me violate this union attractive. That wife get hollered at all the time. Yeah, she get hollered at all the time. I look at I follow her.
So Aisha and Curry, the only reason that no one hollers at her is because they respect the union that they have.
Right. Void of her attraction. She's not as attractive as most women who are married to these type of men.
And so if she was more attractive, we wouldn't respect the union anymore. We would now violate
We'd
the
be less
union
inclined to.
because she looked good.
I mean, I wouldn't holler at. I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't be one of these sexy niggas who get in like the Dale Curry.
But you don't respect the idea. If you feel that way, how can you say you even respect the idea of the union? The only reason you respect the union isn't because of the union. It's the person in the union that is providing this one bit of value, this one thing that they look good.
I'm sure Dale wife
No,
does
that's
all
not
the
what
same
he
things.
said. That's not what he said. He said we'd be less inclined.
We'd be less
to-
inclined.
But the
to
only
be
thing
respectable about
that's
how we approach.
changed, the only thing that's changed is the looks.
Yeah, that's a big factor in that.
Right, but the looks doesn't have anything to do with the union of marriage.
No,
No, I'm talking about from the outside looking in.
What I'm saying is, if Black China got married, when Black China married Rob, did you start respecting Black China, or did you still look at Black China like a?
No,
I
exactly.
think that's a far cry. Like let's talk about somebody who has a little bit more value as a woman, that we're not attaching to a whole bunch of jumping around dating mad different men. Like who else is sexy but is
Beyonce.
So if
Beyonce.
Aisha Curry
and niggas
Beyonce.
still
could
Beyonce.
say, so if
Beyonce.
Aisha Curry had the popularity of Beyonce,
No,
she would get
not
hollered
the
at more?
popularity.
The look.
The look.
The sexiness, just that appeal, that being sexy without trying to be sexy.
Aisha Curry is not on the stage shaking her ass.
True.
And Dale Curry wife ain't either.
And I understand that. Maybe I feel like we talking past each other at this point. But I will say this though.
I get your perspective.
Right.
I get it.
But I don't. But
I understand what you're saying. You're
What I'm
saying
saying
that the bond is to be respected whether she looks good or doesn't look
exactly.
good.
I also am saying
what
that
we're
if the sole reason that you are really willing to violate that union is because she's hot, then you didn't respect the union in the first
Let me
place.
say this.
If she didn't look
Let me say this much. I've
That's
never heard a single nigga I've ever been around be like, yo, damn son, I'll bust Aisha Curry ass. But I have heard niggas say, yo son, I'll bust Dale Curry wife ass. Like, and she has the same merit as a woman, that those intangible things that you can't find in every exploited relationship that's on TV, that's exposed to the public, that you see in Aisha, that you see in Dale's wife. She just has more of a appealing thing about her. It's just the way she looks, the way she carries herself is the same way Aisha carries herself. She's just slightly more attractive.
Aisha the type to go down to Alabama with a group,
You stupid.
start protesting right now.
I think Dale's wife would do the same shit.
So speaking of it's a great segue. Speaking of going to Alabama to protest, of course everybody's heard the information that 25 men and one white woman passed a law of basically banning abortion, to where taking away women's rights to have an abortion. I've seen a whole bunch of conversation on this, a whole bunch of opinions. I just feel like, and I kind of said this on my Insta story, that to me, abortion is weird. It's weird to me that it exists, right? Now, I respect women's rights, because if this is a right that's been given to women, you can't take that away, right? So, like, even if, like, we have a right to drive cars, right? If they took that away from us, we would be mad about that. If, okay, everybody got to walk or ride a bike now because the cars are fucking up the environment, so no more cars, right? We would be mad about that only because we did have the right to drive a car. But if we never had the right ever to drive a car, we wouldn't be protesting and saying, give us our rights, we want to drive cars. We wouldn't do that because it was never a right. So if you rewind and abortion was never a thing, I don't think people would be fighting for the right to have an abortion because it wouldn't be a thing to fight for. You know what I'm saying? If abortions didn't exist and it wasn't being snatched from people, it would be nothing to fight for. I don't feel like if abortion didn't exist in society at all, the word abortion didn't even exist. It wasn't a thing. I don't think that women would be coming together to fight for the right to have them.
It's crazy. I hear everything that you're saying, but
you know
all I can picture why he was saying that. Like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, I got what he was saying. Like, you can't have one without the other. You can't fight for the right to do something if you don't already have that shit established or in place. Right. My belief behind the whole abortion and Alabama thing, I've been kind of like trying to pay attention to this, but like not overly immersing myself in it because I'm not a woman, but I do believe in women's rights, and that's the only thing that I'm settling on. We as individuals, people, all human beings have the right to do with our own property. It's the one thing that we have sole control over, even if we are, segued into certain systems. Like our social security numbers are all registered. Our person has to be accounted for at all points in times, like our citizenship and all that other shit. But the right to do with your body, what you want, what you allow, like augmenting things, like getting breast enhancements or piercings or tattoos, it's still your personal person. Like you have that option. That's your choice to do whatever it is that you want. I don't think it's within anybody's means, man, woman, or other. You know what I'm saying? Short of God for somebody to put those type of constraints on a woman as to what she's allowed to do with her own body. And then we have to take into account so many other factors that come into play, not just getting pregnant on a one-night stand or messing with a guy that you don't see a future with and you want to bring a child into that situation, or poverty. Think about rape. Think about somebody forcing themselves upon you and you don't want to have the resentment for that child having to bear and raise that child under those conditions where it's trauma for you. Like it's just tormenting to know that this is a result of one of the most dramatic situations you probably have ever gone through in life. Nobody has that or should have that power to take that option from you to make those sound decisions.
Now I want to say something to that, right? And I said this on social media. Some people understood what I was saying, and so a lot of people who didn't understand what I was saying. So when we gotta start saying what it is, right? We say we can't let other people say what a woman should do with her body, right? Now that phrase, letting a woman do what she does with her body, right? That's it's an ear-catching phrase, right? But that's not what's going on. You're stopping a pregnancy. You're stopping the life of a child. But instead of saying abortion or stopping the life of a child, we say you're not letting women do what they're doing with their body. So people have to understand that. That's why you have a lot of people who are so much against abortion, because what they see is you're stopping the life of a child, not we're stopping you from doing what you want to do with your body, because that's the bigger scale. Because they're not stopping you from getting earrings and tattoos and stuff like that. Because adoption is an option. You don't have to do this, right? It's only an option because it's an option. If it wasn't an option, I don't think women would be fighting for the right to have that option.
I get your point, but there's so many arguments and so many like scientific proof cases that a fetus at a certain point in time is not a living life form to where it has
until 6 weeks. Yeah.
Right. So if a woman feels like she wants to abandon that from within her system, that fetus or whatever that life form that is forming from her body, before it gets to a point where she has to be consciously corrupted about that decision. I don't feel that we as men or women should be the people who make that decision for them about whether they are allowed to or not.
Right.
We talk about right. I mean, it's the word in and of itself has so much power. Like, because I want to be able to make decisions about my life that affect my livelihood, but also affects the livelihood of somebody else. Imagine not having the right to have an abortion when you are impoverished and you have to bring this child into a system that's strictly dependent upon the government, strictly dependent upon assistance that's not your own, and you can't make a life for yourself, but you have the conscious wherewithal of mind to know that this is a decision that you don't want to make. You can afford the $400, $500 for that decision, but you can't afford the cost that it's going to take for you to bear and raise a child with already less than beyond your own means income.
See, but what that does to me is that strips away the accountability of a grown-ass adult. If you cannot afford a child, you should be having sex the way that you don't have a child. See, it strips the accountability of a human being and a grown adult. If you are having raw sex, you know that there's a possibility you could get pregnant.
Right.
People have raw sex because they know they have options of ending the pregnancy.
But then why take away the options of what you can do after that decision occurs?
Right, that's what I'm saying. People deserve that option because the option is their right. What I'm saying, I'm never for anybody who has the right, that right being taken away from them. I'm not for that at all. So that's why I feel like they shouldn't be able to make that decision because women have that right. I will never agree with a woman's rights being taken from her. What I'm speaking to is if these rights didn't exist, we would operate different. If you knew that if a girl got pregnant, she had to have the child in America, there's no option. You would wear protection more. You would be more focused on your birth control. The condoms would be there. If you didn't have a condom, she got vaginal condoms because you know if you get pregnant in America, you can't abort the baby. It's not even a thing. We don't even think about it. You know you have to have it. That's just what it is in America. We wouldn't be fighting for those rights to say, because it would look crazy. Think about it. If abortion wasn't a thing, right, was never a thing, and then women started fighting for the right to be able to end the pregnancy, the world would look at them as crazy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, nobody ends a pregnancy. Everybody when you get pregnant, you have your child. That's just what it is. And then a group of women come out and say, no, we want to end our pregnancies because we might not want the child. The world would look at them as wow. But the fact that abortions is already incorporated into society and it is a thing and it is an option, then nobody should have the right to pull that from a woman.
And you know what's crazy? I think that like the majority of the people who are like less informed about, you know, pregnancy and what it takes to have a child or what it takes to rear a child and all that are forgetting a lot of other factors like that, the rape being an issue or the way that somebody being pregnant could end the life of the person carrying that child. Or even beyond that, there are women who take certain drugs for certain ailments, whether it be like acne and shit like that, and it increases their risk of having a birth with a child that has defects and abnormalities. And these are just, you know, things that they want to avoid because you have a conscience to know that, you know, why would I want to bring a child into the world knowing that they aren't going to have equal opportunity as a well healthy, able-bodied baby that, you know, comes to full term. Like it's a lot of other factors is why I'm advocating for it being, you know, a woman being pro-choice. Like men all the time, we get into our own bag about, well, if a shorty get pregnant and shit like that, and you're not ready, this is somebody who you're sleeping with, and you don't have real dealings with, you know, a man gonna run to the, you should probably, take care of that. I'll help you with, figure it out, but get an abortion and shit like that. So I'm just appalled at the fact that the majority of the people that are making these decisions are people who don't live in that bubble of the world. It's white men who are affluent, who can rear and raise children in a certain type of comfortable lifestyle, not thinking that there's a part of the world where people want to have this decision because they understand the dynamic of what it is to be in this America, living under certain type of conditions and shit, knowing that to bring a child into the world, it's either going to be a meal ticket for you because of how that's going to supply your lifestyle with the government assistance shit, or it's going to be a burden that you can't bear because you can't barely take care of your own personal self.
All right. So, one of the issues I think with this, with Alabama, is that they made the law, they made it criminal for a doctor to perform an abortion on a woman who was raped, or I think the only instance is where the mother's life was actually in jeopardy.
Right.
And then you got to make a decision based off that. But so having the ability to forcing a woman to have a baby after being raped, which is probably one of the most traumatic experiences for a woman. I don't even want to have that. To me, that's not even a discussion for me to be having with a woman. Like, you can do whatever you want to do in that situation, because I couldn't imagine what that's like for you. And I mean, if you get punched in the face, you got to wear that for a couple weeks. That's a black eye. That's gonna go away, right? But you probably not gonna have nightmares, and that's not gonna haunt you. And then when you're carrying this inside you, like you're giving life to something that was the result of the most horrific experience. So I understand that's a life,
right?
But at that point in time, I'm not here to tell you what you can and can't do. So that's probably where I lie on that aspect of it.
Because it could be toxic, like both ways. It could be toxic where it's a horrible experience, and you have this child from a horrible experience. Now, it's very well possible for a woman to have a child that came from a rape, and her to despise that child, which is not fair to the child, but it's understandable because it comes from a horrific experience.
Now you can get that baby, you can put the baby up for adoption, but that's 9 months of
connection.
And
weird ass connection,
and you're tied to that forever.
Right.
I mean, you don't get past that at all.
Right.
And for another thing, it's not really. It's a religious thing as well, right? Notice where it happened at in Alabama. Right. It's a religious thing. You have certain type of people.
It's 7 states total that have done that now. Alabama was the 7th.
That bill won't pass. Just FYI.
It probably won't. It still got
that bill will never pass. But I mean, the fact that
you don't think so, Alabama? It's still illegal for black people and white people in Alabama in the Constitution to be married.
But that's based on old statutes. That's based on
the Constitution.
We're more progressive. We're more progressive.
I mean, they allow it. They don't enforce it, but it's still written.
I get that, but these are laws that were made at a time where the people that are being hindered by those laws didn't have a say so, didn't have a voice, didn't have the same rights that we do now.
The people who wrote these laws were white Christian men who decided to make this a thing. For multiple reasons, but mostly for religious reasons. And again, also, if you look at the population who is having the most babies, how those babies are growing up, right? And there may be certain things that you want to do or not to do with those populations of people, right? So
you would think population control would be on the mind of senators and governors and things like that, where they're trying to they be advocating against the abortion.
Again, but if you have an abortion, that's a fixed cost. It costs you a certain dollar amount. I don't know what the procedure is, but it's a fixed amount. If you have a kid, it costs money to raise that kid. Right. That's food, money, clothing on the kid's back, and then the gross 18-year check that you write. So it costs more money for the kid to be alive than to have the abortion and not have that expense anymore. So again, if you're trying to keep a certain type of, if the population that you want to control and keep down is having the most babies and also the most impoverished, and they're having babies and they have to support them, then what does that do? That's a rise in debt. That's a rise in healthcare costs because they're going to be eating crappy food. That's going to lead to certain types of diseases, and that's.
So I seen a breakdown. Not to cut you off, but I seen a breakdown. It's saying that it's predicted that white people will be the minority by 2045. So they're saying that these white people being the majority is only a figment of our imagination. They're decreasing rapidly, going down to being the minority. So
yeah, because you can't mate with anything else and still be white.
I just want to rebuttal your point just a little bit.
Hold on, I want to finish with those.
Okay.
So they're saying that these states are gradually doing this because this is the only way that the government can have their hand in life or death, because you can't be in the street stopping everybody from killing everybody. You can't be in the hospital stopping everybody from having heart disease. But what you can do is make people have children. If so,
The laws do that, though.
Huh?
The laws do that. The laws stop us from being out in the street shooting somebody in broad day.
But what I'm saying is you can't stop it.
Very.
No, it's not.
All right, so
how many people shoot people every day? You can't stop it. But if I say if it's a law to have no abortions,
how many people die a year being just say let's in
mortality rate
in
from
America?
Violence.
How many people died from being shot in the street in the broad day? If we took that number and then we looked at the total population of people in America, it would be a very small percentage. We think that when we go into the city, we're gonna get shot.
The number increases every year, though.
So does the population. It's going to increase. The more people you have, then the more people you're going to have to do bad shit, the more people you're going to have to do good shit. They got to choose and pick which side they're going to fall on.
What I'm saying to me, they don't have a direct hand in who dies from a gun.
Right. What?
They are facilitating guns to our neighborhoods.
He said we don't got the plane or the money to
Right.
But that's what I'm saying is they don't have. There's no way the government knows that person A is going to shoot person B tomorrow.
But they are facilitating the plays that allow that to happen. We don't have any say in exporting or importing guns, weapons, things of that nature. Like not on a large scale for Black African Americans, but white people do. They know putting these tools into our neighborhoods, putting them into the hands of our youth, putting them into the hands of people who are making their living in illegal means and all that, is going to increase the
but that's not the point. That's not the point we're arguing about. That's the point. The point that I was making was that this is the only way the government can have a direct hand in stopping in life or death.
But that's the point I'm arguing.
Guns is indirect, because I can give you a gun, but you have to make the decision to shoot it. That's indirect. If I make a law where you can't have an abortion, I have a direct hand in life or death.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So if they're trying to control population, this is a way for them to put a direct hand in that control, in life or death.
Right.
Everything else is indirect.
I think importing guns into our neighborhood is also having a direct
But you
hand.
still have to have the gun and then make the decision to shoot the gun.
Well, they have to believe that because we are an impoverished people, and that we will try to find means to make a living, to survive in the world, because we don't have the same opportunities as them. Putting those guns in our neighborhoods, putting them in the hands of our children, putting them in the hands of our grown men who are moving illegally, does increase the likelihood that we will kill each other off based on their indirect but direct relation to how they're moving these guns, these drugs. It is. It's like we're not.
It can't be indirect and direct.
It is, because it's not legally being done, but it's being done by people who have the power to make those pawns move on a check.
But what I'm saying is, I can give you a missile launcher right now, but Meek as a man has to decide I'm going to shoot that missile launcher. So that's indirect. That's not direct.
You're giving it to him with the belief that he would do that based on his situation.
No, I'm giving it to him for him to make the decision to do that.
One of the biggest issues, though, with this thing is that people believe that if you do that, then you're going to have women who are going to have an abortion, regardless of the reason. They're going to have one, and they're going to do it in a method that is unsanitary and could cost the mother her life unnecessarily.
True.
So the same thing, like when people go around and you see people giving out needles to people, they give them clean needles to use, right? They're furthering their habit, but at the same time, they want them to be safe while they're doing it, right? So you want people to be safe in doing it. And the other thing is, in order for this to pass, this has to go to court. That's just why they passed the bill, so that somebody could sue them, so they would go to court. And now it's in court, and it'll go before the Supreme Court. Maybe it probably won't go there, but if it does, then you got to look at the justices, and the precedent's already been set in Roe v. Wade, in that it's it's a viability point.
But that's for Alabama. The other 6 states are done. It's set in place.
Right, but you can pass it. But once there's a certain time in the lawsuit where you have to.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The other states are not in legislation anymore. They're done. It's a law.
Right, it's a law, but you can still sue them. Right now that it's a law is when you can sue them and say this law violates my constitutional right, and then that goes to court. And then that court of rule will probably get appealed. It'll go to the appellate court. It'll probably go to the Supreme Court. And then when they get that case, you got to look at who's on the bench, which is why it's been such an issue with who are the justices. Because if you have more conservative justice, when they make the law, they have to rely on past precedent that was set. And so they can overrule that and say, all right, Roe v. Wade, we said it's okay to have an abortion. Here's how you can have an abortion, or the circumstances in which you have. For instance, some states tried to make it illegal for women to have an abortion without telling the husband about it. Right, that went to the Supreme Court. That violation. Right, they tried to put like the 48-hour wait period on abortions. That's kind of okay. We want to make sure the mother's informed. So it depends on what the law is. But to completely outlaw it and say that if you get raped, you have an abortion, it's illegal to have one, and then if a doctor performs one, he's going to serve 99 years in prison for that. That's a little bit different. So it probably won't pass based off of that. But I mean, for the most part, when you look at it, I'm gonna leave it at this. I'm gonna say this: as far as the women being raped, or if you want to have an abortion and you want to do that, then that's fine. Let's kind of make it illegal for doctors to perform based off of just them trying to be doctor and serve. They took an oath to help people. You know what I mean? And to sentence them to jail for doing their job, that would kind of seem a little bit.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I think the bill won't pass. Yeah. I don't think a majority, like the 6 states that you said, that'll pass. I think at some point in time, those things will come against some type of Supreme Court judiciary. Something is going to be put in place. Some type of construct is going to be in place. But all of that said, like just the way we are as a people in this America, like LGBTQ rights, African American rights, Asian rights, people that are coming from Mexico to America looking to have a ways and means to make a living for themselves. Like there's so many viable options for us to come in, to argue, to rebel against what 25 plus one female is making a decision for other women. I don't think that it's going to stand up for the majority of people who don't see that as something that should be constitutional for you to make that type of decision when it's about how I decide to live or not live my life based on how it's going to affect me forever and a day. Whether it be in that moment or after the fact.
I feel like it depends on the state. The other 6 states are red states. Alabama is a red state. So that's what I look at. The other 6 states that have gotten it through all the way through and it's in the books in stone.
Well, I think that's why
they're red states.
I think that's why they went ahead and moved forward and tried to pass the bill. It's because they are and they feel that way, like I said.
Well, it only takes one situation for it to be overturned in a certain state where it passes and then it gets thrown out of legislature, out of the books, we're writing this off. This is now not going to be something that we're going to allow to stand.
I think that that's probably the motive behind all of the states doing it, the other 7 states passing these bills, because if you have multiple states that have an issue, that's also a highly politicized issue and just a deep religious issue and something we all deal with. The more states that pass it, probably the higher the likelihood that the Supreme Court will hear.
You know when this will change?
Only hear
when this will change? It'll change when there's an executive decision for it to change. With the president that we currently have in office, whatever his agenda is, and whatever these states' agendas are,
he could pass a law himself. I mean, he didn't have power to make that law because he only has certain ones. But let's say hypothetically,
what I'm saying, we haven't heard from Donald Trump.
Have
you heard from Donald Trump in the midst of all of this calamity that is surrounding this situation? We haven't. But we will more likely than not get a more progressive president in the seat in the next coming years, who at some point in time is they're gonna have to argue against whatever this point is. It's like the same when we were looking at Barack and his campaign 6 years ago, when it was more about school funding and us having to pay back tuition and student funding. Like, he got on board with whatever that campaign was. Hillary got on board with whatever that campaign was to throw out some of this debt so that Americans can have a viable means of living without having to be indebted to wherever they decide to get an education. So that was their agenda because that was the big hot topic for us at that time. This will be a hot topic that's going to be addressed when those people start running for electoral votes, when they start looking for winning over certain states. I'm sure this is going to be mentioned. So whoever is in that seat at the point in time that they're elected is going to have to address this in some form or fashion. So I think an executive decision.
Be politically correct. We're going to do what it takes to win, like all political people do. That's the game.
People is going to be banking on that change, though. I think.
So breakups, man. We've all been through breakups. All know it's a tough situation. There is no manual on how you're supposed to do relationships. There is no wrong or right way. People have their own, opinions on what relationships should be and how they should go. But we've all reached that point of where we had to break up with somebody. So,
What we broken up with?
Let's start here. Have you ever, in majority of your relationships, were you the dumper or the dumpy?
So one was kind of like a mutual thing. Well, actually, two were kind of mutual. When I was in college, we just moved away. I was gone for like a year, some change. Wasn't having that. So we kind of just split mutually. We was cool. We still kind of cool. We don't talk ever, but we didn't kind of end on like a crazy note. And then the other one, when I was in high school, I was going to college, so that just wasn't going to work. We was like 7 hours away. The other ones, they did. Well, not all of them. I'll say. Yeah. And the other ones I was.
You were the dumper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Tom?
So majority of my relationships, I've probably been like the dumpy. I don't know, man. Like, I've done like a lot of growing in my relationships. I've had like a lot of very immature like experiences with trying to do this whole man-woman shit on a serious level with people who I've cared about, and being like very underprepared about how I should be conducting myself, about dealing with shit that affects our on some grown adult shit. Like you said, there's no manual for this shit. There's no manual for relationships. And then also, everybody that you end up dealing with is less likely than not that y'all gonna have the same type of upbringing and experiences when it comes to approaching love and relationships. I've, unfortunately been the person that's like, and I'm not gonna put that, I'm not gonna put the onus on my upbringing, because I have my own decisions to make with how I, treat the people who I consider to love or care about. And it's probably majority of the times been me not taking the initiative to do what was supposed to be done at the time that it was supposed to be done before it was too late. Does that make sense? Like, me catching myself in the bullshit that probably could have salvaged a relationship always came when it was kind of like a null and void. So I've been, dumped because a lot of the things that I should have been mindful of didn't hit me until it was that, the point of loss.
Were you dumped for the same reasons?
No. Nah.
It was always something different?
Not always something different. Like, there's a certain span of life where my young adult shit, it probably was a lot of the same shit, but at the same time, I haven't had like very many girlfriends. I've dated like a lot of people. I've had my experiences with like a lot of people and shit like that. But I take, like I said before in the podcast, like, the way I vet people who I decide I want to be with is like different than most people. And it, as toxic as it sounds, it's like the people who I end up in relationships, it usually be the people who can deal with a lot of my bullshit prior to getting to a title. Whether it's like infidelities or my approach to, being on my own dick about certain shit, just being in my own space and not yielding myself to give that situation as much care and concern as it actually needed for somebody else to thrive in our shit. More selfish than, selfless. And that has always been like my burden, man. Like, I don't know, like I said, ain't no manual for this shit. So it's hard to kind of like figure out how to get outside of your own self-preservation to make a life for somebody if you don't know what that looks like, if you don't have examples of that in your upbringing and shit. I don't have a whole lot of examples of that.
Yeah. So what about you, man?
So, majority, damn near all. My 6th grade girlfriend. Every time I say every time I say that on this podcast, I've never been dumped before. My 6th grade girlfriend says, "Nigga, I dumped you when you was in the 6th grade." I was like, nigga, I had a girlfriend.
Way back when.
I had a girlfriend before the day was over. Like, that shit didn't matter back then. Like, but she say that all the time.
Niggas say me in the joint by the sandbox is what we know.
She say that all the time. She's like, nigga, I dumped you in the 6th grade. I had a girl for the day was over. Like, what are you talking about? But yeah, man, I've been the dumper, and I hate that. I hate that because I'm the type of person that goes. I have a lot of patience. I understand people's mind don't work like mine. I understand that people don't think like I think. So I think the biggest thing that, and it's like a cycle with all of my relationships. I feel like women approach me with fuckboy logic until it's like I'm constantly not actually trying to prove, but actually just being myself. And me being myself, I feel like women feel like the women that I've dated with, I feel like it's come from an aspect almost on like the Aisha Curry shit, but from a different aspect of, okay, you look good, you're popular, like, because I've always been like popular in basketball, high school, popular in basketball in college, and just the overall, me, and then from transforming for that to being a DJ. So I've always been like the popular guy, and women assume that the popular guy got all the women. So I feel like I've dated maybe some insecure women who come from the mind frame of, why me? Like, he's this, why would he pick me? And then he can't be picking me because of what I am, because how they view themselves. And it's always been frustrating because I see the potential in you more than you see the potential in yourself. I see the beauty in you more than you see the beauty in yourself. And I feel like I spend 4 years every time trying to get them to that point, right? And then it comes to the point where I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm done. And then they're realizing, they're realizing what I am when it's too late. And then it's come back. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I'm so tired of that cycle because I've been the dumper. I'm the one dumping because I worked hard. I tried this angle. I tried to come from this side. I tried to come from this side, and it just eventually gets to the same place to where two people who just can't figure it out.
Right. Do you understand? You understand your play in the
100%.
So you do understand
100%.
What it is about you that 100%. Causes you to get
100%. I don't blame them at all. The situation didn't work. It's not that they're the bad person. They fucked up or they're bad for being insecure. It's not that. It's just the fact that the situation didn't work. But the situations keep being the same thing. And it's like, no matter, I'm not the type to, like, this is what aggravates me sometimes, like with women. Women, take for instance, right, say a girl is on Instagram, right? She bad, she's showing a figure, whatever. She gets a boyfriend. She's public with her boyfriend. Look at Bae. But she got Bae off of what she was doing. The pictures, the Instagram life, the bad bitch shit, right? And then after that happens and that relationship don't work out, because you stopped while you was in that relationship, because doing that got you this. Then you find out this is another fucked up relationship. You get out of that relationship and go back
to doing the
same thing that got you the fucked up relationship. Me, in my situations, I learned from the previous situation. So if this girl was insecure, it don't matter tall, short, skinny, black, white, Asian. If you're insecure, it's a way to deal with insecurity, right? So maybe on this person, I was super hard on this person, right? And this person has never been in an environment where they were pushed. You as growing up as a child, you just did whatever you wanted to do. Your parents didn't really push you into anything or push you towards something, or you weren't a part of sports or in nothing, no coaches, no nothing to push you. You were just floating through life and being spoiled, and so when you get around a person who is constantly driven, I don't know how to relax. Even when I'm relaxing, I feel like it's something I could be doing. You know what I'm saying? So when you're around a person like that and you don't have that go, that drive, it kind of becomes aggravating to a person who has that drive. But then that person who has that drive also has to realize that's your drive. That ain't got to be their drive, because that's your drive. So I learned those lessons and approached different things different ways. I can't expect everyone to think like me. But what I do want people to do is to put forth the effort to understand how I think while I understand how you think, and we can get to a better place. But it just seems like the cycle keeps continuing no matter how I change the approach or the aspect. It's like I meet a girl, she thinks that I'm on the bullshit, thinks that I'm on the bullshit because of who I am, what I look like, whatever. I'm on the bullshit. And then they kind of like let that wear down, but they still do insecure things as far as like, who is that chick? Just the insecure shit. And then nothing aggravates a man more when he's not doing nothing and you're being accused of doing something.
What the fuck?
That shit will irk the fuck out of you.
Man.
If you are not doing nothing, because it makes you realize that this motherfucker is crazy. Because you're literally not doing nothing. You can literally hand them your phone, they can go through everything, every secret apps, whatever, go through everything and not find anything. But that phrase that says, if you're looking for something, you're gonna find it. That phrase doesn't mean that you're gonna find what you're looking for, but your mind is gonna confirm anything that you can find to make it that. Perfect example, I think I told this story before. One of my exes, she got mad because a girl wrote on my Facebook wall, this was her exact message. Hey B, haven't heard from you in a while. Hope everything is well. Talk to you later. Now, does that sound sexual or advancing or anything?
Not to a man.
Right, but this is what I'm glad you said that. This is what she took from that. She said, hey B. She called you B, so she's familiar with you. That's what she took from that. So she's familiar with you. She said, haven't talked to you in a while. So that means y'all talk on the phone.
On a regular basis.
On a regular basis. Then from that she said, see you later. Are you seeing this motherfucker?
Where y'all linking at? Where
y'all gonna talk tonight?
Where you this linking? Y'all linking.
Now, mind you,
show me your Google Maps history.
This is somebody from my past.
Did you have dealings with that person?
She didn't know that. She didn't know that.
I want to play devil's advocate, but I can't because I continue.
So she didn't know that, but we had dealings like 7 years prior to that, and it wasn't like dealings like she was my girl. It was just dealings with somebody I dealt with in the past. But see, that's what bothered me was that the girl is in Florida, right? And you know she's in Florida, right? But I'm here in the house with you, in the bed. I come home to you every night. You never not know where I am. Why would you ever be concerned about a girl on Facebook in Florida?
Meek, I feel triggered.
You can't. No. Yeah. Stop.
Like I'm here with you every night. We going through it. We paying these bills together. We argue. We fight. We fucking. We doing all that here with you in here. She's in Florida. She can't even smell me if she wanted to. Why?
I've heard this before, and I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not speaking for women, but a woman told me this. It's the fact that and this is how she viewed it. If someone's comfortable enough to reach out to you, in any way, shape, or form, then she viewed it as like a violation of the relationship, right?
Because someone wrote on my Facebook wall,
I'm just saying,
no control over.
Listen, I'm not. That's not on behalf of all women. That's what I was told, though. That's all I got.
That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
And I understand that women don't think logically.
So y'all break up?
No, but it was an argument.
Okay.
And that's what I didn't like.
So you're taking notations of the things that are going on in your relationships that are either causing you to be, less inclined to be as attracted to the person that you're with based on how they move and how they address things. Because I do that, like subconsciously and consciously. Like there's certain things that I'll see over time, and there's certain things that I zone in on while dealing with somebody that kind of like paints a picture for me about whether I see it being more than what it's going to be after what it is that we're doing now. Whether we're dating, in a relationship, does this translate to something that could be like marriage? And it's based on how you approach those same type of situations where you make yourself upset, volatile, and you create tension between you and I based on factors I can't control. So you're saying every girl who I've ever dealt with in life prior to knowing you, when I meet you, then I should go on my social media page that's open access to the public and block all these individuals so you don't feel insecure about somebody leaving a comment on my page that I don't know is coming and I don't know is going to set you off in a way that's going to make you reactive to where you're now causing a rip between you and I personally am not going to police myself like that, and I would hate to be in a situation where because somebody conducts themselves like that, it now causes me to be, more keen to the shit you got going on, because that's normally how it happens. Like usually I try to play it super relaxed and chill in my situations, and I think if I got you, then why worry about who ain't got you? Like that's where I'm at with it in the early stages. Now that can very quickly change based on how you treat those same type of situations where you're constantly worried about the people who I'm not worried about. Now, because you're paying more attention to that, now I'm paying more attention to the same shit that you're like chastising or scolding me about. Cause like that's it's a hot button for you. That causes you to be emotionally unstable. It causes us to be at odds with each other. So now why would I not be paying attention to your shit the same way you're paying attention to my shit? And not because I want to, because I'm gonna hold you to the same type of accountability that you're holding me to. Like if you don't want girls leaving heart eyes and comments on the pictures and shit like that I post, you know what I'm saying? Even though I'm not paying that shit no attention because it's social media, it allows people to go in who know you and who don't know you alike to make those type of gestures, even if you don't feed into it and shit. And so it's affecting you in such a way, and I know it causes you to feel compelled to want to have a conversation with me about it. Now I'm looking at you the same way. When you have heart eyes and shit like that, and you know what's funny about those type of situations? The people who come at you the hardest when it's like that going on in your shit will not take any accountability for that shit going on in their situation. Like a woman is a woman, and men, like we said before, are very predatory. A man is more inclined, a man who knows you, who doesn't know you, ain't seen you from don't know you from Adam or a can of paint or some shit like that, to just see you being attractive with your cleavage out or to have a nice smile and shit like that, to want to go thirsty hard on your pictures, your comments, you know what I'm saying, trying to get your attention and shit like that. Women are less inclined to do it unless you just are a very attractive man and they see something about you outside of how you look that draws them to you and shit. Right. So
just to speak to that point right there, what happens to me is that somebody won't comment what they want to say under the pic. They'll send me the pic of me and then say their comment because they don't want other people to see their comment, right? So just to speak into your point that how men are more likely to be in your DMs, under your comments, going crazy, then a woman is to be under a man's comments, looking real thirsty and saying,
you as a man should not feel insecure about the same things that your woman feels insecure about, because I think the majority of women, whether you are marginally attractive or one of the baddest around, are going to get those type of affinities from men.
Right.
But I can't run down you about your DMs. I can't run down on you about your comments and people that's liking shit, this and the third or whatever, because as a man, what does that make me? I look weak. I look like, what I'm saying, I look vulnerable. I look like I'm the type of man who could lose my woman to somebody just showing attention. And you're going to look at me a certain kind of way and judge me. Yet, as a man, I'm supposed to look at you and feel like I should protect you in those moments to where you feel like, hey, babe, it's okay. That situation is not what it seems. I'm not concerned about that. You're protected. I have your best interest in mind at all times. Like, don't worry about what that shit is. You want me to delete that person? Cool, I'll delete that person. You want me to block that person? Cool, I'll block that person. Most women, and I'm not speaking for all women, I'm talking about women I've known in my life, women I've known that have dealt with guys that I know, friends, brothers, cousins, whatever the case may be, are not inclined to do that same type of, fair exchange where it's like, let me hit my man to what's going on. Let me, circumvent some of these situations so you don't have to feel like somebody can come in and just get the attention. I'm curving niggas. You know what my homie told me a long time ago, and I still hold this true to all my relationships today? A man should not fear hollering at your woman because of who you are. They should fear hollering at your woman because of who she is and how she approaches shit, how she curves the attention, how she treats niggas that would try to violate y'all union based on her own merit, like based on her own moral caliber. She should be somebody that puts a lot of that shit to a point where niggas don't even feel comfortable. They don't even feel like they can get out of pocket and say nothing crazy to your girl that would make it seem like she would be, interested in obliging with whatever your interest is. You know what I'm saying? Your woman should have that type of power. You as a man shouldn't have to force that type of situation.
Let me ask y'all this thing. So, when y'all did y'all break up?
Who? The one who I felt like, yeah. Well,
did y'all? How was y'all? Is there a good? I know you probably got questions, but I want to ask y'all this one. How do you break up?
Just depends on the situation.
Yeah, I can.
How you break up? How do you break up?
Because how do I break up? How
do you break up with somebody in general?
So in the situation where I have broken up with somebody who I was dating or whatever, because like I said, I'm usually the person that gets them.
Is there right or wrong way?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Answer the first one first, please.
So what's the first question? It's a lot of fucked up ways you can break up.
So, is there? I guess that this.
None of my breakups have ever been like, this person cheated, fuck you, get out of my life, screaming, yelling, kicking.
You don't know my life, bro. What if you did? You don't know my life. Because that's based on my shit.
What if it wasn't any cheating? What if you just was like, hey, I don't want to be with you no more, and she ain't started?
No, that's what I'm saying. All of my relationships have never ended like that. Where
how old are you really?
Kick and fight. I'm 36.
Right, but okay, so you okay.
Meaning I've never had an ugly breakup.
Right.
I have.
There was points where, the female didn't want to break up, but it wasn't ugly. They weren't hating me, wanting to keep my car, showing up at my house, and us arguing all the time. It was just because I'm just solid, man, and I
respect that.
I'm patient. I'm patient as fuck. And I understand people more than they know that I understand them. So a lot of things that I do are, the person doesn't even know that I'm trying to help them by like even how I start a conversation with you. I could start it differently, but I start the conversation this way with you because I know who you are and how you take information. You don't even know that I'm helping you by doing that. You don't even know that in my mind I'm preparing what I'm going to say to you the way you can best get it because I know how you think and how you take in
your
information.
interpretation of help may be somebody else's interpretation of being chastised.
It has been.
But I understand it from their,
I understand it too.
I can understand it from their advantage, not being in like, somebody who's, had to be eyes on site with your relationships and all that shit, because I get that too. Like, there have been situations where I've fallen out of sorts with females who I know cared about me and I cared about them because I felt like their critiques of who I should have been or who I should be being in that situation sounded more like criticisms and less like trying to help coach me to get us to a better place.
Right.
Like, it felt like judgment. It felt like a whole lot of, you know what I'm saying, comparative shit. Like you're now basing who I am against what you've known that's been good.
Mm-hmm.
You're not thinking about our bad and how that shit could be fixed or how that could be like worked out between you and I. You're holding me to somebody else's standard who doesn't hold the same values or moral caliber that I have, like in our situation. And then I feel like when you're doing that, like how motherfucking productive or constructive could that be to our situation if those people that you keep trying to put me on the same level as aren't around? Like they ain't making for a reason, but you keep trying to like take all my bad and compare it to all their good, but then they're not here. Like, so why should I have to live up to somebody else's standard that you feel like wasn't worthy of being here in the first place? That's innocent.
And that's kind of how my last situation was, where it was. I made a statement that said, girls who play organized sports make the best girlfriend because they understand what it is to be a team. They understand what it is to be on a team. They understand what it means to be coached. They have a different aspect on those situations. That's just been my personal experiences. People who have not been in relationships, as far as like even relationships with their parents, to where they were pushed and you know, pushed to be great, pushed to do something with your life, pushed to make a decision, pushed to everything is like given to you. Those people don't understand criticism because you've been, for lack of a better term, smoke just been blown up your ass your whole life. And you already think that you're God's greatest gift, but you don't know that there's a lot of things that you need to work on. You need to learn how to communicate. You need to learn how to take accountability. You need to learn how to be an adult. You don't even know how to be an adult yet. So if you don't know these things and you're with someone who can help you with these things, you should want to listen, not be combative and try to challenge what are you challenging? You're challenging what you don't know. Why are you debating what you don't know? Why not listen to someone who can help you with that information? But in relationships and speaking to insecure people, they hear that differently. They hear it as, I ain't shit, I'm not adding up, I'm not good enough, I'm not that. And that always frustrates me because if I'm coming from a place of help and all you hear is hurt, and I've tried different ways to come from help, I've yelled and cussed, I was calm and quiet, I came from this angle, I came from that angle. If I'm doing all of that, and with me doing all of those different angles and all of those different constructive conversation, and you still hear, I ain't shit, what else can I do? I can't do nothing else. I've tried every form of communication to you.
Right.
I've tried every angle that I can. If we can't get past that, it's time for me to go. And that's how it's always been, is that I'm not stuck in my ways where it's gonna be this, you're gonna do this, and listen to this, and do this, and do this, and do that. No. I'm not that. I'm a person who's very observant. I almost learn a woman better than she knows herself. So it comes to a point where my girlfriend had always told me, like, I can't stand how you know what I'm thinking, how you know what I'm, when I say, that's because I pay attention, and I understand I'm a communications major. It was my major to learn how to communicate to people effectively. So it's just, it's frustrating when you take all of these angles because you see the potential in someone and what they can be, and they're not getting it from any angle. So then you're at a point like, what do I do? Because this has to improve. If it doesn't improve, I'm going to be out. So it leaves a frustration, and then when you get to a level of frustration, then everything comes out wrong. Nothing comes out right when you're frustrated because you're mad and you're flustered, and it's just frustration pouring out of you. And that doesn't always come out the same way. So then you get to a toxic point where you guys are yelling at each other and bumping and maybe pushing, and then it gets to a point where, this is too fucking much. This ain't what this supposed to be like. This is toxic for both of us. So you have to let those situations go, and that's where my breakups don't always get to that point to where it's pushing and shoving and yelling and screaming. That's very rare, but what I'm saying is that it comes to a point where the person has to understand, look, I've tried this, I tried that, tried this, I tried that, and I tried this and that too. And it's not working, you're not understanding that I'm trying to help you. Since you're not understanding the help, I can't help you. You have to figure it out on your own. So we have to part so you can figure this out on your own, because you're not gonna figure it out with me, because we tried every angle.
Right. I feel like I'm gonna say breakups are tough. I mean, from either typically unless y'all both agree, like, hey, I feel like this probably early on. These conversations probably happen mostly like early on when you get the, all right, we dated for a couple of days and we've been dating for like a month. It's cool, but like I ain't really interested in being with you. Like those conversations happen early on. But I feel like at a certain point in time when you're in a relationship and one of y'all wants out, the other one is emotionally invested in the relationship. And regardless of how you break up, it's not gonna be easy to do. And I say, like, you don't wanna, I guess from my perspective, I don't like to disappoint people. So I don't wanna make somebody feel upset or be upset or put them in a bad place on purpose. Now, I say that, and I've done shit on purpose and tried to shield that from them finding out in order to protect them from having those feelings. I understand that's one thing. I'm talking about something else, right? Because it's one thing to do that. It's another thing to look somebody in the eyes and tell them, and tell them face to face. But you don't want to disappoint people like that. And when you see somebody that cares so much about you, right? They have feelings for you, regardless of the greater the feelings, the worse the feeling you have, right? But the fact that you gotta tell somebody that cares about you, that, listen, this doesn't work for me anymore, and you can explain to them why, and then they're gonna try. They may be like, okay, fine, cool, whatever, we done. I don't care, whatever, boom. Then you'll probably have somebody trying to, like, well, what happened? Well, let's talk about it. Let's do this. Let's do that. But I'm assuming that you've had that conversation before multiple times. But when you have that final conversation with somebody, like y'all splitting up, I think that's a tough conversation to have. One, and it's probably one that's going to get dragged out more than what it should be, and that's just probably because both of y'all are on the same page. But the more you try and explain y'all are, how much y'all aren't on the same page, someone else is looking you back in the face, explaining how y'all can get past this and make it work. That's tough.
That sounds like from the perspective of men, though, because I think women don't extend those same non-biases when it comes to like their dealings with their girlfriends, when it comes to like breakups and shit like that. Men will give you like the good and the bad about why
what women do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only going off like certain experiences and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've been around like a lot of females just over time. So I can see how it's like, I'm speaking from a man's standpoint. Like when you go through a breakup or you're dealing with like turbulence in your relationship and you have men friends that you lean on for advice and somebody to steer you right when you're going wrong, to try to help you with your relationship, your men friend usually put the mirror on you and they help you address whatever your bullshit flaws are, avoid from whatever it is that you're telling them that's going wrong in y'all dynamic, because they want you to understand that, hey bro, like, address your bullshit before you address y'all bullshit. Like, what are you doing that's contributing to y'all not being in a place where y'all can get past a lot of what it is that you're going through that's causing you to have so much space and indifference. Mm-hmm. Women, I feel like, don't do that. Not all women, but a majority of women usually have girlfriends who only hear or like you or appreciate you being the boyfriend to your friend when things are good, and as soon as they hear something bad about you, then it's a switch that it flips. And no matter what good is being said about you after the fact, they have this perception of who you are at the time that things were not good, when things were bad, and then they hold that hostility or animosity or, you know what I'm saying, lack thereof appreciation for you or their relationship with their friend based on whatever your flaws are. They don't have, I think a lot of women don't have the capacity to take themselves out of, you know what I'm saying, want to be relatable to their friends, to pinpoint to their friends what their like vices are, what their like toxicity to the relationship is being. Like, girl, you are nagging this nigga. You are giving this motherfucker a hard time and he's trying to be a good man for you in your situation. You got shit with you too. Like, there's things that you could be doing differently that can help y'all get to a better place. It's more like, no, girl, I appreciate, I can understand what you're saying. Like, I can relate because my nigga did this, or the nigga who I was talking to before did that. So,
well, girl, you know niggas ain't shit.
Basically,
like just
like
enforcing negative reinforcement.
Right.
Is like it's. We talked about it earlier. How we say birds of a feather flock together. So most women are hanging around women who think like them. It's very rare for a group of women to have that one person that's the now you know you tripping.
Right.
Like, yeah, I heard what you said, but I also know you.
It's like Son said before. I can't even talk to women. I have no interest in having a woman around me that I see myself being long term with who doesn't have the good friend. Like that person who's gonna make sure like when shit is going bad, you know, regardless of what my play in this is, she's also gonna be able to tell her friend about what her part in our shortcomings are and how we can get through that shit together. Like, so you need somebody that's gonna give you the good and the bad and not just feed a battery in your back about how perfect of a female you are, how much of a supporter you are, how much of a caretaker you are, nurturer you are. And this nigga should be so grateful to have you in his life. It's his loss if he don't got you. They gotta be able to tell you about the shit that you're doing that's adding to the detriment of the relationship as a whole. Like, women who don't have that friend who's willing to go, you know, to odds with them about their own personal issues or problems, or pinpointing to them or bringing to them, you know, some surface level shit about how they've treated relationships in the past and how that's now playing into their current dynamic. I don't want to be involved with them, because you need somebody that's going to be able to right you when I'm wrong. Because I'm not going to always be able to come to you and talk to you about the shit you got going on.
Yeah, I agree with the friend. I think we all need that. I think everybody should talk to a therapist. I mean,
we all need counseling.
You need somebody to talk to.
Shit.
You need somebody to talk to. But specifically for me, it's hard to have those tough conversations, and I've gotten better at having them because I've noticed my actions and how I avoid them when I reflect. I'm like, I probably could have said this then, right? But I don't want to. I'm the type of person. I'm cool. Like I'm the type of. I'm gonna give you 3 strikes type guy. You know what I'm saying? I'll let something go that bothers me the first time. It'll happen again, as long as it's not like close in time and it's not like simultaneously or anything. I'll let that go. Give you 2. Third time, now we're gonna have a conversation about it, because now I got a pattern and now I can attach that and I can say, listen, I feel this way because these 2 times you did this, and now it just happened again. So now we can have a conversation about that. But like like, so that just lays out for you how I feel about having, you know, a conversation with a breakup. And so therefore I find myself in situations where it's tough for me to break up with someone when I know I should break up with them, right? And
why?
I think it's just in my nature. I mean, it's probably like product of my environment, how I grew up. You know, all these things probably play a part in that, right? But just in like, I don't want to disappoint people. You know what I mean? That's
for me. It's not for me. So, all right. So for me, it's not about disappointment.
Right, but it's the emotional effect too. Cause I don't want someone to be mad at me. If I do something to make you mad at me, cool. If I do, like, if I'm intentionally trying to be, trying to be violent, be mean, then I don't have a problem with how you feel. But if I'm doing something that's for my own benefit, that's going to make you feel negatively about me, then I have a problem with that, right? Because I'm trying to do what's best for me. You look at it as me hurting you. That's how you interpret it, regardless of this is for me. I don't know if I'm sure some women feel the same way when they're breaking up with a dude that really cares about them. But you see what I'm saying? So like that's why it's tough for me to have those conversations, and my inability to have those tough conversations sooner than later puts the breakup in a different place. Not one that I think warrants the type of, antics that would come if like you walked into the bedroom and, you saw what you saw. But it's going to warrant a larger reaction than the one if I had this conversation with you, last week when it.
I feel the exact same, but I feel it on a different level. Like for you, it's like not wanting to disappoint people. For me, it's more like I know how long it takes for me to get to that point. I know how much it takes for me to have to like sacrifice of my own self to want to be in a position where now I'm willing to sacrifice the things that I would normally do, the person that I normally am, for the betterment of this situation. So calling you my girlfriend comes with certain obligations.
But that's what makes it so tough.
Yeah, for me that's exactly what it is.
See, it sounds like we talking from the opposite
right.
Because
you don't want to. So you don't want to disappoint nobody. But me, I don't want to be in a position where I don't like starting this shit over and over again. And I think that's why
you gotta get used to that. Though.
No, you can't. I don't feel like you should. I don't want to be the person that has to keep recycling people.
So I feel like what's your timeline? Because hold up.
What you mean timeline?
What's your vetting process? How long are you vetting? What's your veteran camp look like?
I'm gonna tell you that that situation varies from period
spring
to period.
Training.
So let's talk about it. So it varies. Like I don't have there's no set time frame for how I'm gonna approach a relationship.
So I guess what I'm asking is this. So at a certain point in time, we're talking about I guess the rollover of relationships, the turnover.
Right.
When you got, and I feel like your vetting process, like you go on a couple dates and you just make a decision if there's gonna be a couple more dates. It's more me. Like, all right, we're gonna do this because I like you.
It's more me trying to figure out what tangible things about you that I feel like.
And what time period would you say that you have on that as far as
it doesn't.
It's not
varies.
My vetting
so you can
is like 2 years.
Right. So
it varies.
So your turnover will just be dependent on that relationship. So when I say get used to it, I don't mean get used to it in that you got to go through the cycles.
Goddamn.
For 2 years.
Motherfuckers running for office.
He doing sentences over here.
Listen, man.
I get it. No, I get it, bro.
Listen, man.
It's no such thing as going into a relationship. I don't believe in that.
I'm looking for a wife. I'm not looking for a temporary situation.
So who's getting married after meeting a chick for 3 months, get married and be married for 75 years? You know a chick for 6 years.
How often does that happen?
You know somebody
turn
for
the TV off me. That's not how it happens, man.
You know somebody.
People don't meet at McDonald's and be together for 75 years. That's not how shit happens.
I know people that have been together for 7 years, broke up.
Let me tell you what's real. Let me tell you what's real. Every girl that I felt like I wanted to call my girlfriend or end up being my girlfriend, I thought was gonna be forever. That's the crazy shit, and that's after a long vetting process. They're not filling out an application. They're not checking off all my check boxes. It's just me getting to a point where I feel comfortable enough with you to want to be with you every day. Me being comfortable enough for you to be around my family.
I will watch you for 2 years.
I
will watch you for 2 years.
I can know in 2 minutes, or I can know in 2 months. It varies.
Yeah, y'all need to be having some more conversation.
What you mean? So what's your vetting process? What's your vetting process for you to figure out somebody is going to go from being somebody that you just have an interest in to being your girlfriend?
Right, because I spend time with them, but I don't need 2 years to figure out who somebody is, and I don't need 6 months to figure out. I
didn't say 2 years to figure out who they are.
That's what I was asking.
I'm looking for a wife. I can know who you are in 10 minutes because off a conversation.
All right, that's
but I need to know more.
Right, so we're good.
I need to know more.
And that my point is, I don't need 2 years to know more. And at least thus far, I have.
Your question was, what's your vetting process?
Right, that's the vetting process.
I could be dating you and still vetting you. So I could be I could be dating you for 2 years and still vetting you.
True, but what I'm saying is, if you vet for somebody for 2 years, then you kind of like wasting some time.
It's not wasting time. I'm gonna tell you why. Because think about all of the recycled relationships that you've been up until this point. Like you're recycling people over and over. They're recycling you. Like you're using each other up. You're investing energy in people that's temporary. That's not gonna be here. Because all it takes is for you to step outside of their parameter, their box of what they like or don't like in the moments that they decide that this no longer fits their agenda. Because it's not about you. You're trying to put somebody into your life that's going to make you better based on what it is that you're looking for. They're doing the same thing, but as soon as that switches or changes for them, then you're no longer a component that has to be here. now it's coming to a point of breaking up. So when I vet people, it's more like I'm looking at your ability to stand in trials and tribulations and actually make it through, because a lot of that shit it's gonna come. Like, people think marriage is just this one dynamic where it's y'all everybody coexists and it's perfectly, y'all have small problems and things, you get over it. That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. You're gonna have a lot of bullshit that's gonna be introduced into whatever it is that y'all doing, that's gonna test y'all. It's gonna make you or break you in that relationship. So when I'm vetting people, I'm looking at, do you have enough strength on your own without me being able to validate you? Do you have enough strength on your own without your friends being able to tell you things about me that they don't agree with? Do you have enough strength on your own where whatever my problems are don't affect the way that you view me or judge me for you to make a decision about whether you can love me enough through all that? That's my vetting process.
You don't know someone until you've been through some shit with someone.
No,
Facts.
Because you can be all in and never be in some shit with someone, and never. And the process needs to happen.
You're gonna go. All right. So, I would say this. I would say that before we get into some shit, before we get in it, I already know how it goes and how it ends. That's the relationship. That's
how can
that's
you
the
know
value.
that without?
And that's the difference.
Let me finish.
I don't know. We don't make it until we get into some shit.
No. See, before you get into it, you already know how it's gonna end. Because if I value you enough and we go in there, I already know that that's what I'm interested in. If my goal is to be with a wife, like you want a wife, before we get into some stuff, let me ask you this: would you rather go to war with a bunch of dudes that you already know is gonna fight for you, or would you rather go to war with dudes who you never fought with before and you don't know how it's gonna pan out, but then when the war is over, you're like, okay, well you guys rode for me, so now I'm gonna ride for you. Like, that's okay, but what I'm saying is, before I get into that point, I already know. We gonna make it through this. We gonna work to the point where we make it through.
I don't know that somebody's gonna ride for me until they ride for me, because before that it's just words. I got your back, dog.
Right.
Yeah, you can say that all day until we in the club.
That's like a woman telling you, I love you. I'm never gonna leave you until you do something that you like.
You can't. But I think y'all putting on it like they gotta fully commit and make themselves like vulnerable before you doing it.
That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is,
What's wrong with that?
I get you.
No. What I'm saying is, you can't expect somebody to jump into the lake first when you ain't even willing to jump into the lake first.
But that's the thing. I'm already showing you that I'm willing to jump into the lake before I get to a point where I know whether you're gonna do it or not.
So my point exactly, and this is my point. I'm not talking about from the other person's perspective. From your perspective, your vetting process, right? You're not even going before you get into whatever it is y'all going to get into. You already knew, like, this the one. Like, I don't care what she do. You may not have thought like, man, if she cheat on me, I'm gonna keep her. If she cheat on me with 2 dudes, I'm gonna keep her. If she cheat on me with 3 dudes, I'm gonna dump her. You ain't decide that, but you knew going into it. Listen, if something happened, I'm gonna make it work with her because that's the decision I already made. And then based on how that happens, y'all make it out on the other end.
Well, just speaking to your analogy of jumping in the water. No, I want to walk down the deck with you, hold hands, walk side by side, and we jump off the bridge together because we both know that we understand what this is. While we walk down the bridge, I might have stepped on the nail, and you helped me when I stepped on that nail. Then you was walking down the bridge, and the wood broke and your foot went through, and I had to catch you before you got down the bridge. But when we get to the end and we jump, because we've been through all that shit going down the middle, that's when I know when we jump. But I don't know from the beginning if we ain't never been through nothing.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. When y'all sitting on the end of that dock, like you said, y'all walking hand in hand, whoever put their hand out first, that's the person who made themselves the most vulnerable and let the other person know, I got you.
I agree with you to that point.
This is me saying, I got you. Put your hand right here. You got me. We walk down
but I got you because of what we went through back there.
Ain't nothing going yet. Ain't nothing going on.
If we're jumping,
then why would you be that one?
You gotta hold hands to walk through the fire.
But you gotta go through the fire with me for me to know that you're
gonna
go through the fire. Water. Like, you gotta go through the. We gotta go. You can't be my girl if we ain't going through no shit. It's not possible for me. For me personally.
Yeah.
Why would I want to be with you and I don't know whether you can deal with my bullshit? You don't know whether I can deal with your bullshit.
Right.
I might be dealing with you tolerating shit that no other nigga would deal with because I see something in you that makes me feel like, damn man, beyond this, this is a good woman. Beyond this is somebody who is nurturing. Beyond this is somebody who gonna have my back, win, lose, or fucking draw. I gotta figure that out over time. But you gotta do the same shit with me. You can't walk with me while it's perfect, it's sunny skies and motherfucking sun is beaming and all that other shit. Then we get to a motherfucking a rough patch, it's stormy outside, and then you fucking retreat. Then why would I want to be there? Why would I want to invest? So me vetting somebody is because I want to know that when we get to a fucking rough patch, a storm,
what you
gonna tough it out.
Exactly.
But that's what I've been saying the entire time.
Right, but so y'all going into so y'all ain't giving. All right, I feel like all right.
I don't give the benefit of the doubt. I don't give the benefit
Listen.
of the doubt when it comes to me calling somebody my girlfriend.
So,
because if I'm calling you girlfriend, I'm thinking long term and after that.
I feel like, I bet you whenever you were ready to call somebody a girlfriend, she was probably all ready to call you her boyfriend prior to you.
And that's her vetting process. That's what she's entitled to.
Right.
So I'm not going to be held hostage to what your understanding of who I am is as a man, and I've already hit all your checkpoints.
Give me this.
You might still got some shit to check off.
Give me this thing. Her doing that makes your decision for her to be your girlfriend a little bit easier.
Nope.
Because she already committed
nope.
to you.
You know how many girls? You know how many girls have wanted to be with me as a boyfriend? No, listen, real shit. There are mad girls that wanted me to be their boyfriend because of how they felt about me at the time that they felt that way about me, and I still wasn't convinced that because you have an affinity for me that I should have the same affinity for you. Because
not those women.
It's probably because we ain't going
Not those women. The women that you did decide to make your girlfriend. The women that you made your girlfriend. The fact that they probably liked you before you liked them, it made it easier for you to be like, okay, well, obviously one of the check marks on my box is, does this girl like me? Okay, I'm gonna check that one. So I feel like
we dating, you like me, but that's my thing though. That ain't got nothing to do with like a girlfriend or boyfriend.
If I'm entertaining me,
you like me. Yeah. If you spending time with me, if you kicking it with me, you like me. Because I mean, women have if not, I say 60 to 70% more options than men. I can look a certain kind of way. I can talk a certain kind of way. I'm only going to be appealing to a certain group of women. But women can just be a one certain thing. She can be intelligent. She can be enterprising. She could be sexy as all fuck. And that's going to appeal to an array of different men. Mm-hmm. So you have way more options than me. So if you are spending time with me, the understanding in my mind is you're making a choice to want to give me something that you could be giving to mad other people, and I'm taking the luxury in that. Like I'm benefiting from that situation.
Guess. So, all that to say that when I'm talking to a girl, I know she has the qualities. I'm talking to her, we're having a good time. Like, you can vibe with somebody, you can be cool with them, right? And that could be the end of your relationship, right? I know after talking to somebody whether or not I want to go down the road of finding out more about them, right? What I'm saying is that at each of these junctions, there's a breakup point, right? Because you can split up, you can first date, and we ain't got to do that anymore, do a couple dates. That's all I'm trying to say is that at a certain point in time, I'm willing to say, all right, let me see where I like this. We had a good time. Let's see if we can do this next week. All right, okay, I like this. Let me bring you around the homies. See what they think, right? So we taking these steps each time, and each one of these is like a test. And you could fail, and that could get you, X. And it took me time to figure out that I need to be more vocal at these junctures and say, instead of saying, all right, well, I know like this ain't work right here on day one, so I'm not gonna do it on day two, right? And then when we get 3 months down the road, yeah, like 3 months is cool, but like every relationship you're in, like you said, it might take you 2 years. If it took you 2 years to vet somebody, like that's not a waste of time. That's a vetting process. You thought they were a good candidate, and I guess my biggest thing with breakups, and let y'all speak on this, is that like everybody thinks that the person you're with is the person you're supposed to be with for forever. Sometimes the people in your life are there to show you the people you don't want to be with forever. To show you the people that you don't want to be with, period. Sometimes those people are in your life to provide you with what you need right there at that point in time in your life. And then after that, you got nothing else to offer them. They might gotta go. That's fine. But the concept of breaking up it's just a negative word in itself, to split apart, to separate, right? in my eyes, I don't view that. I don't view the relationship or the breakup that way, because from each relationship I've had through each breakup, I've grown, and I've noticed that there are certain relationships that are more serious than others, and so you learn more from those relationships. So the gap, like you in high school, you break up with a girl, 10th grade, you get your shorty by 11th grade, y'all date, 12th grade, y'all break up. Like each one of those relationships, you probably learned like an inch worth of stuff. Like I don't know, like a gigabyte of stuff. But from high school to college, you probably learned like 10 gigabytes of new things on relationships and what you want, and you figured out. And then as you got past that, you start to learn more and more about yourself based off the past relationships you were in and the breakups, and that puts you in a position to have a relationship with a woman, to understand the values that you want in a woman, what you like in a woman sooner than later, and that way going through the fire that she's going to be there with you and come out on the back end.
I don't think that is like a progressive thing. I don't think it's a progressive thing.
I ain't want to come back, but I feel like
I get it.
You sound like a preacher for the Elevation Church.
I don't feel like that. I don't feel like it's a progressive thing. I feel like each of those experiences.
Let the comments speak to it.
Sound like a youth pastor.
I feel like each of those experiences are their own entities. That's why I can't address it the same way.
But I'm not saying you don't address each breakup.
Every breakup.
The older I got, the longer my vetting process got.
Really?
I agree.
Yes.
I would say that.
I agree. You know what's crazy?
I can give you that. It's definitely a little bit longer. But at the same time, I feel like because of my past experiences, because of your past experiences in general, you should be able to spot it more. Like, for instance, like you're a professional, right? When you walk into the club and you hear, you can probably go to 5 clubs on a weekly basis. On 1 week, go to 5 different clubs and figure out which one of those DJs was the best based off your experience. Mm-hmm. And that's one night of listening to one set. They probably got 30,000 sets each, right? Mm-hmm. So when it comes to dating, I think that's the same way. Because you've been able to be in relationships and you've been around so many women, and you should be able to pick up and hone in on these things a little bit quicker because you have practice at it now. You know what I mean? You know the questions to ask. You know the slight jabs at, oh well, she should just get an abortion. Well, now you just hit on political topics. Now you're trying to see where her mind at and see if you can vibe that way. So
I get what you're saying, but the game is forever changing. Like the way that we approach dating, like for me, it feels like it changes every situation that I'm out of and in of. Like when I'm in a relationship, dating and approaching dating at that point in time was a way. Now that I'm out of a relationship, jumping into some different shit, dating and approaching dating is a different way. And that's me progressing personally, but that's also people in the world and the times that we're in now. Like women are approaching dating differently. Men are coming at women differently, so they're holding you to a certain expectation when you approach. So things that you think may have worked prior to don't hold the same kind of value. Don't hold the same type of merit now because all of this shit is forever fucking changing. Like, as much as you learn over time about how to date and how to vent and how to figure out what you want and what you don't want, the same way that you're learning and progressing and changing, people are learning and progressing and changing based on the world that they live in and how they approach dating and what value is in a relationship. Okay. It's not just love, care, and concern now. It's finances. It's more about your stature. It's more about status. It's a lot of other less tangible shit that's gonna make you like peaceful inward. Like a lot of this shit is more for the world now. It's like, how does this look to everybody that's viewing what we're doing? How does this look to the people that I call my friends? How does this look to social media? Are we appealing? Do we look like two people, regardless of what your views are versus my views, do we look like we belong together?
I think you touched on something.
I wanted to talk about what you said earlier. When you said, I had to slip my mind just that quick. Oh no, when you said that people get in relationships with the idea of thinking that this person is supposed to be the one for forever.
I know, I think people do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying. And to me, that speaks to how I've been thinking about like just marriage, period, and the construct of marriage. To me, like I'm starting to think of marriage as just another construct that's in our society that was created. It's people hold marriage to such a high standard because everybody wants to be loved and everybody wants to be wanted, but it's not working. The idea of forever, It's not working, and because it's not working,
It's not working, but go ahead.
it's failing. It's failing more than it's working. That would be considered not working.
It's the divorce rate is as high as it's been, but it's not like it's 60-40. It's like 50 something.
It's 52%.
That's half of the people who do get married that get a divorce.
I said this analogy before. If I sold you a car and I told you this car will only work 52% of the time, would you still buy the car?
No.
That's my point exactly.
If you told me that I could buy a car,
if marriage,
and the next car that I bought, I knew the value of a car at 52%, I would definitely pick a better car.
There isn't a better car.
Yeah,
There's not a better car.
I had kind of like that.
It didn't make any sense though. It sounded good. It didn't make sense though.
It sounded like some fly shit. Yeah, it sounded like
no, it didn't, because we're talking. There's only one car.
Right, what I'm saying.
The car is marriage.
Right, but
so you can't look for a better car. The car is marriage.
The way he positioned it
yeah, he said it's
smooth,
but it didn't make any sense.
But you can remarry.
But that's just marriage. That's the umbrella of marriage.
But how many people go to marriage thinking about marrying again?
No, but again, if you learn from a past experience that of what you don't want, you can go into it again.
My thing is, why take that car?
How come those past experiences can't be telling you that marriage doesn't work?
They could. You could absolutely get into a marriage and say, I was married once, ain't doing it again. I heard people say that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the fact that you keep getting in relationships and they keep failing.
Right.
All of us, we get in relationships that fail. Relationship fail. How come that's not a sign that relationships don't work on the constructs that we look at how they're supposed to be?
Because
that would be
that's
proof.
Fine. Personally, that's fine. Again, personally, that's fine. All your experiences in the past are going to tell you what you can and cannot do. Based off those experiences,
y'all not tired. You said y'all not tired of like breaking up. Y'all not tired of like.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you can.
Like, that's where I'm at.
Yo, bro,
I'm
so drained with like dating people.
That's where I'm at.
And vetting people and building a life with you for 2.5 years and worrying about bringing you around my family and worrying about judgment and worrying about you not being able to deal with my demons, worrying about you introducing shit into our situation that's gonna make me look at you indifferent or feel like I met somebody and then you turn into a different person after the fact. I'm tired, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, breaking up is the hardest shit in the world to do for me because I take relationships very serious when I'm in a relationship. Whether I'm doing bullshit or not, I have decided or made you somebody that holds that type of stance in my life for a particular reason. And it's my belief that whatever it is that we're doing is going to be substantial over the long run. I'm looking at you. I'm believing in your conviction when you speak. I'm believing in the things that you do for me are coming from a good and solid place and not for you to hold some shit over my head. So it pains me for me to be in those situations and the shit don't work out and then I'm having to repeat this cycle with a brand new motherfucker learning bullshit about them.
Like I said, you better speed up that damn vetting process and you won't have to vet nobody.
What difference is that? What he's talking about is the exchange of energy. The energy of being invested in a relationship, giving your all and it not working. How many times can you give your all to someone and it doesn't work before you become the if you talking while I'm talking, you ain't thinking you're listening to me.
How many kids play basketball that want to make it to the pros?
That ain't the same thing.
It's time out. No, we talking about wanting something and expecting it to work out. It's not. That's what I'm saying. You want that. You want that. But until you have what you want and then you realize that that's not what I want, that's not working, only then can you say that's a bad thing. You're not getting into the relationship saying, all right, man, I'm going to give you like 2 or 3 years. After that, we're going to be out, right?
You're
not doing that. You're going into it like, we in it. You just told me that this is what you want. You tired of breaking up. You want something long term.
I'm agreeing with you 1,000%.
Right.
I never go into a relationship thinking I'm gonna break up with somebody. That's like going into a job thinking about when am I gonna get fired?
I don't think anybody said
and
that.
I feel you, like people don't want to do that over and over again. And I'm not saying that they don't or that they shouldn't. What I am saying is that just because you break up with somebody it's not the end of the world. It's not the end all be all.
It feels like it doesn't make you a bad person. I'm gonna tell you why breaking up is so fucking hard.
That's why I said it's hard for me to do because of my willingness to not make anybody feel that
when I think about what I could be doing outside of a relationship, That's what pains me about being in situations that end. Because in my mind, I'm not walking into any situation thinking to myself, how much time do we have? At what point in time do I introduce my bad shit and you decide that doesn't work for you? At what point in time do you do some fucked up shit and I decide it doesn't work for me? That's never how I'm looking at it. I feel like going through the vetting process, I have discovered everything that I need to know at that moment. And that can change over time because people change. We've already had this conversation. Like, I have decided and made a conscious decision based on everything that I know that is good and righteous about what it is that you're doing, what I'm doing, how we're conducting ourselves with each other, that makes me feel like, you know what? I want to be doing this with you and nobody else. Let's pray to God this works out in our favor, both our favors. You get what you want from this, I get what I want from this. A partner, a friend, a confidant, somebody that's not going to judge me, somebody that's not going to look down upon me when I'm at my losses. Like, you know, somebody who's going to big me up when I'm going through the storms because I'm feeling like I'm going to do the same shit for you. That ain't gonna change because we had an argument about some bullshit. That ain't gonna change because of infidelities and shit. That's not gonna change because we decide that people are recyclable and I can get you out of here and bring a brand new fucking person in and we can do this shit again for another 2.5, 3 years. I'm investing thinking about long term. That's why it's only been that amount of girlfriends over the span of my life. And I dated mad girls who wanted to be my girlfriend, who felt like I treated them like a boyfriend, but never could get a title because something in the back of my mind, something very overt and direct was telling me that this ain't a person that when it comes down to it, is gonna have your best interest at heart. They're not gonna be there when it's all fucked up. They're not gonna understand certain things about your life based on how you were raised versus how they were raised. Right. But the people who I made that decision with, I always trusted my gut instinct feeling like, damn, she gets it. Like, this motherfucker here, she get it.
You got to.
She get it. And that's why breaking up is so fucking hard. Like, people think like, I don't know why certain people do it. They feel like breaking up is, that's a cycle of life. Like, it's like taxes, it's like death, it's gonna happen and shit like that. Why accept that? Why run into every other situation trying to learn somebody, drain them of all their energy, all their good, to just move on to another motherfucking person, leave them hurt, confused, baffled, and the only thing that you can say is, well, at least you learned something. You learned something.
But you didn't go into it with that intention.
I never do, but there are people who do
but
that.
The end result is the same. You can't ignore that.
Right, no. But just be, again, if the end result is the same, then like you said, you don't need to get into the relationship. That could be the end. You can say, hey, boy, that's not for me. But I cut you off a while ago. Let me bring it back to you with this. Is there something in the breakup process that you should not do, or something that's been done to you or you did during the breakup process that you shouldn't do?
Let me address that first. It's like I said all the time. At the end of a breakup, the onus is on the man to keep up the integrity of a woman. It's the natural inclination for me is that a woman is gonna vent to her friends, and and that's over the course of time in that relationship. Tell her about all your bad. Tell her about what you could have been doing right. It's like women threw a party for women who break up with niggas that they feel like wasn't good for them in the beginning based on the bad or the negative feedback that they've been hearing over time throughout the relationship. Void of all the good. A nigga could buy you flowers, take you out on dates, take you on trips, want to show you a good time, and it could just be y'all in the crib, popping popcorn, watching movies all fucking day, going through series and shit like that. And that's the good and positive shit in a relationship. How often is it that women run back and tell their friends about those good experiences? Because that seems like commonplace. That's what a man should be doing. Like, a nigga should be raising his children. A man should be spending time with his woman, watching movies, getting to know her, and them having witty banter back and forth about shit that they like together. It's an expectation. We should be doing that. That ain't gonna get that much praise. But as soon as you fuck up, now I gotta tell all my girlfriends. I got people on my side who understand what I'm going through because they've been through the same type of experiences. As a man, we don't get that option. I don't get to break up with you and go run back and tell my friend, she fucked up. Bitch don't care about nothing but $1. All she care about is how she look on social media. All she care about is what people think about our dynamic and not what she feels about me versus what we got going on and trying to fix our shit. She's worried about the world. Cause I do that I look like what? I look hurt. Yeah. I look effeminate. I'm a man scorned now because I'm telling everybody all your bad shit, trying to paint a picture of you that may not be you, but it's you from my perspective based on what I know about our relationship. So I don't get that option as a man. I gotta tuck my motherfucking tail between my legs. But like, damn, you know what? Shit ain't work out. She's still a good person. Even if she's fucked up, I gotta hold you in high esteem because it's not It's not masculine for a man to talk down on a woman after the breakup.
That'll hurt your pride too, swallowing all that pride.
You got to. And it's, you know what's crazy is, and it only comes out in situations where like you real fucked up. We all got our breaking points. Like yo, I'm protecting you to a degree. And this is only in a situation where like you are a fucked up person who's not acknowledging your own flaws and shit. I'm protecting you. You can tell everything bad about me. You'll sell all my stories to a motherfucker for the sake of just a little bit of attention and somebody to tap you. It's all right, girl. You're going to get a better man. You're going to do better. Everything will be okay. But as soon as you start vetting all this shit that's fucked up, you ain't telling nobody about none of the good shit, the intangible shit that they don't get a chance to see, that's not skewed for everybody to give you likes and applause and praise. You know what people do? They post flowers and like cards and shit like that when they niggas doing good, right? You're not posting none of the shit where he's supporting you when you feel like, you know, down and out and you have indifferences about what you feel like you should be getting as a woman from your job, or your friends is not there to have your back when it comes to you trying to be boisterous about how you feel like certain things should be going, but your man is right there. Like, yo, don't worry about that. They don't get it. This is your idea. This is your agenda. Like, I support you 1,000%. Don't none of that shit get no applause, no praise. It's only the things that you can show to the world where people can actually look at it and be like, yo, that's dope. That's nice he did that. That's nice he bought those. That's nice he took up there. Like, that gets all of their praise. But my thing is, as a man, I don't like, you don't get the chance to go out and be like, my girl bought me this, that, and the third and shit like that, because you feel like, he getting over it. He got good women, he getting over it. He getting all this good shit from that situation, he getting over it. So it's the same thing when the breakup occurs. You don't get the option to go out there and vent about all your issues, your problems in that situation, because as a man, if you care about a woman, you have to keep her integrity, intact. Whatever picture she's painted to the world about who she is, her character, about how she moves and all the other shit, if you care about her enough, you're not going to tarnish that. Especially because you hurt. You're not going to do it like, oh, yo, fuck that bitch. Watch when y'all go through some shit. Watch how she take you down as a man and shit like that. You doing that for what reason? So other niggas don't get, so you don't want other niggas to be close to her? Let them find that out on themselves. You know the biggest thing for me is like when I go through some shit with a motherfucker I cared about, and we fall out, and me and Rosa had this conversation a long time ago. Rose said to me, like, when you break up with a motherfucker and shit like that, and you know you was doing good, even if you was doing bad and the shit was fucked up, think about what you know about that person. Think about all the bad you know about that person that you no longer have to deal with. That's somebody else's problem. That's somebody else's problem. Because the same way she had affinity for you, the same way she was caring about you, loving you, making sure you was good, making sure you ate and all that other shit, that shit look good, right? It sound good, right?
Yeah.
But think about all the times where you wasn't being the person that she thought you should have been in a situation where it was bigging up her agenda. But you all types of fuck niggas, and you ain't the second, third, and you being disrespected as a man, and being violated and shit like that. That's gonna be somebody else burden to bear when he gets to that point. When that man gets to that point, that crossroad where he not doing everything that you feel like he should be doing, that's perfection for you. Now he got to deal with all that shit. So why would you give a fuck about being in a situation where you break with a motherfucker knowing that you did everything you could do, even with your bad, even with your worst and your terrible? You still was thinking about how can you figure out how to make sure y'all dynamic, it stays intact. You make sure this woman has a support system that comes from you first. You make sure she has protection that comes from you first. Even if you violate, do shit that's unbecoming as a man, your priority is making sure y'all situation is in and of itself, motherfucking, it's granted. It's strong as shit. You did all that, and it still went left. She couldn't appreciate that for whatever reason. Cool, bro. You might have fucked up too much. As a man, you gotta own that. Y'all might not have vetted each other enough to figure out whether y'all need to be in a relationship. As a man, you gotta own that. As a woman, she gotta own that.
Yep.
But when y'all break up, that's no longer your problem. That ain't your issue to bear, my nigga. It's the same with women. When you leave this nigga, y'all fall out, and you feel like you want to reach back and call him, and you've been drunk with your girls, and you feel like you missed that dick, you missed that comfort, you missed some conversation and shit like that. Think about all the shit that you're dealing with this nigga that somebody else gonna have to deal with after the fact. It shouldn't burden you. A breakup shouldn't burden you. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna scar you to a degree. It shouldn't make you sour on relationships. It shouldn't make you sour on getting to know somebody in a new situation. That shit should make you evolve, yeah.
I get accused of when the breakup happens that I seem like I don't care, and that could be 100% true. That at this point I don't care. that's because I know that I put forth a lot of effort and attempt after an attempt because I'm patient and I understand human beings and I understand that two people who didn't grow up in the same household, don't have the same views, trying to now become one is a process. That's not something that you can just, it formulates right away. You have to learn each other, you have to learn how to communicate, and the way they communicate might not be effective communication, the way you communicate might not be effective communication. Don't let it be both of y'all can't effectively communicate, then it's just a shitty ass situation on top of that.
Be like that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
two motherfuckers who don't know how to express themselves.
Well, so that's a process.
You know what I find funny? Two motherfuckers who don't know how to express themselves and they end up going to the couch and talking to other motherfuckers when they couldn't talk to themselves, bro. Ain't that the wildest shit?
That's why I said. Go ahead. That's why I said that everybody needs therapists.
Life funny, man.
It's just it's. I get accused of just being careless. Like I don't care anymore.
When you say careless, when you like emotionally or what you say?
No,
how you act? What's going on when you say that?
In situations, it's damn. I can't believe it's this easy for you to let me go.
I feel like that.
Is what they'll say, and it's not that it's easy to let you go. It's that I've reached a point where it's not. It's what am I fighting for, right? And it comes from the perspective of like being dumped. I explained to a young lady on being dumped is that when you've been dumped, that's a form of rejection. People don't like rejection, right? So you feel like, damn, why did they leave me, right? But the other person who dumped you, they're not thinking about it like, ooh, I'm letting something go that's valuable to me. They're looking at it as, this is not working, I'm letting this problem go. So what the person who's being dumped doesn't realize is that the person who is dumping you because this is not a good situation. So the value that you view me in and wanting to stay with me is not going to be the same value that I look at you in because I wanted to end the situation because it's not productive to me. So it's not that I don't care, it's that I've reached my breaking point. And when I say my breaking point, it's not words. Most girls say things to get a reaction, right? They don't really mean it. I want to put an end to this, right? And as soon as you say, okay, oh, you just gonna let me go like that?
Yeah.
That means you didn't mean what you said. You just said it to get a reaction. And I know that. But I don't play those type of games. I don't say, well, let's end it then, and I don't really want to end it. If I say those words, that is what I feel.
Right.
So I've reached that point of where I could possibly not care anymore because I've reached that breaking point. It's not that I don't care about you. I still care about you. I'm not going to disrespect you and argue and fight with you, whatever. But it's not going to be a disrespectful thing. It's just, this is what it is. It's not working. And I've tried. You've given whatever possible effort you could give. It's just not getting to where we need it to be.
You know the phrase that I hate of all phrases when it comes to a relationship, that I love hard shit. And it's fucked up because I say that all the time. Because I do feel like I love hard. I feel like when I've made a conscious decision to look at you in a certain light, to put you on a certain pedestal when it comes to being in my life in a certain type of way, that for me ain't for play. That's not, I don't joke with that. I ain't sitting around doing this shit because I ain't got shit else to do. Like, of all the relationships that I felt like, well, maybe the more recent relationships that I felt like when I got into a relationship with a person or whatever, I could have stayed single, man. Like, I wasn't advocating for the relationship. I wasn't looking to make you a girlfriend. Whatever we were doing when I met you is whatever we were doing when I met you. At some point in time, your feelings about me versus my feelings about you changed. And you saw me in a certain type of light. And then over time, because I'm looking at the way you view me, the way you treat me, your care and concern, now I'm seeing the value in our situation. Because it's not just like a one-sided thing now. It ain't like you going about your day a certain type of way and we deal when we deal. I'm going about my day a certain type of way and we deal when we deal. It's like, yo, I really care about, nigga, did you eat? Motherfucker, like, you tired. Is work stressing you the fuck out? You care about all that? That shit matter to you? Fuck. That's crazy. Because the shit I was asking you, I making motherfucking conversation. But now, that shit matter to me. yo, you alright? How your son doing? How your kids doing? What's the relationship like with your mom? Y'all talking to everybody alright? How's work? Oh, they ain't showing you no appreciation? You deserve better than that. Now all this shit that I've been doing before that seemed like for play, it's real now because you seen value in me and I'm seeing more value in you because of our common interest in something, a building. It's like I want to build you up because you want to build me up. So now I'm putting stock in all that. That's an investment, bro. That's something that has to have a return at the end of the day. So when you void on the investment, it's like, yo, what the fuck are we doing? How we throwing everything away because you don't like the way I address shit, or we having differences, and I'm willing to fight for this shit for as long as it takes to fight for it because I feel like I didn't make this decision just off a whim, yo. This wasn't just done for the sake of doing it. I ain't call you. I'm bored. I guess I want a girlfriend. Nah, that's not what I did this shit for. There was something there worth me saying, yo, I can see us potentially getting to a level that I have never been with somebody else. Even though those situations in the past, I felt the same way about this could be different. And if it is different, show me different. Because I want to show you different. But there's going to be some problems. There's going to be some issues. You ain't always going to like me. I ain't always going to like you. We might not always agree. I don't want to talk to you every day. You ain't got to talk to me every day. But how do we fix our shit so we're at a good point when it comes to us trying to figure out what we're doing in the long term? Because that's what matters. And we invested in that in the beginning. Like all that, putting that time in, all that talking, all that sexing, all that. You learning me learning you. That's for a purpose. That ain't because I ain't got shit else to do. It's mad other shit to do. It's mad other shit to do. I ain't that bored, my nigga, that I need a girlfriend. Like, I ain't that bored when I need it. But you know what? Shit. Yeah. Go out buy some J's, get me a girl.
Right.
Nigga, ain't that bored, nigga.
Like it's on the to-do list.
Yeah. So that's why it becomes it's a problematic thing for me, and I don't understand how people can just like recycle people over and over again. Like breaking up shouldn't be like just a part of life. Learning people should be a part of life.
It's draining, man.
Experiencing things with other individuals who have the like-minded interests should be a part of life. Going separate ways with friends who outgrow each other should be a part of life. Getting to a relationship after relationship after relationship, breaking up and breaking up and breaking up, and then doing this with another motherfucker. You break up with me, then you gonna be with another nigga, and until he does something that makes you feel like this ain't for me. Like I still look good, I still have value. I can just get another man, and I can do this shit over again. You ain't tired yet?
Right.
You ain't tired?
Shit is draining, bro. It's draining, and I'm tired of the process, man. I'm like at the point where it's just like.
What my man Boogie said? What Boogie said?
Who?
No, Boogie. West Side Boogie. I'm tired of. I just want to know it's for certain. Like I'm tired of.
Oh, he said.
That shit fire. That's a fire.
He said, I'm tired of working on myself. I want to be perfect already. Right. I'm tired of the
dating process. I want to be certain already.
Oh yeah, I'm tired of the dating process. I want to be certain already.
Nigga.
He said, I want to know if God real. I want to get murdered already. And then a gunshot went off.
I put you on?
Did you put me on? I don't think you did.
I put mad niggas on Boogie.
I don't think you put me on.
There's a lot of niggas wasn't fucking with West Side Boogie. Like, no, it's so have you? We'll talk about it, but like that album that dropped, that shit he just dropped, that shit is fire. He got like 2 other mixtapes, Thirst 48 and Thirst 48 Part 2. Some shit on there, man. But anyway, like I kind of feel like it's gonna be a part 2 because I feel like we ain't get to a whole lot of the other shit I want to talk about. I'm pretty sure y'all ain't get to a whole lot of shit y'all want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty more shit I could go on about. I just feel like, man, it's like Ty was saying, man. I'm just tired of the process. I'm tired of being disappointed by people. I'm tired of people not seeing the potential in themselves. I'm tired of people of thinking that they're not good enough to be with me. That irks the fuck out of me. I'm not no superhuman. I'm not different than any other man. I mean, I have different morals and different things I stand on, and I know what separate me from the average man, but I'm still a human being. I'm tired of women feeling like they're not good enough to be with me. That irks the fuck out of me because you don't see the beauty in yourself that I see in you. And it's hard for me to understand that how can you look at the same face that I'm looking at, same body I'm looking at, same everything I'm looking at, and not see what I see. Yeah, I see your flaws. I see my own flaws. You see my flaws. But I still hold myself to a certain standard because I am confident in who I am. If you have these same qualities, what is stopping you from seeing that you're the same thing? And that just irks the fuck out of me.
You know what I've learned? What I've learned about breakups over the few breakups where I've had the experience being the person that gets broken up with, it's like breakups feel like death sometimes. Like you go through your first part of breakup is denial. Like think about like the last situation. So we broke up, a couple weeks passed, I ain't hitting your line, you ain't hitting my line. Finally, fuck it, I get tired of you not hitting me, I hit your phone. I'm like, okay, what's this? This the real shit? So we not broken up in the same crib together no more. We separate of each other now. So we really broke up. All right, cool. Fuck it. Cause you have to get to a point where even though you know that's what's going on, you gotta eat that to a certain degree. The second part of that is motherfucking anger. I be out with my niggas even after that situation was done, and niggas be like, yo, what's good with such and such? Like y'all still good? And the typical nigga in me like, yo, fuck that bitch. Yo, I'm good. She be alright. Heard she got a new nigga. I heard she doing some different shit. Cause I'm hurt. That's the hurt. No, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck. No. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck. But then when you get past that, like that anger shit, and a little bit more time goes by, and you start thinking about everything that you're losing out on, you think about all the moments that you're missing, all the time where y'all could be making up and making shit right, you get to a point of depression. I got to a point of depression, like real depression. Like I don't want to be around nobody. I don't want to see nobody that knows me, that knows us. It's too much. It's carrying too much weight. Like I had people randomly ask me, yo, what's good with you and such and such? As a man, I gotta eat that. I gotta be like, yo, you gotta. My whole shit was every time you gotta ask her, yo. Don't ask me. ask her, yo.
That's a major part of why none of my it's probably I could probably name three people that are breathing on earth right now who can name my last 3 girlfriends. There's probably 3 people breathing who can name those 3 people and say their names.
But let me speak to that because I ain't gonna cut you off. I just want to get through like them stages that a nigga just. I understand because I mean, like you have to come to grips with a lot of shit, right?
No, I was speaking to just that point of
right.
The fact that you have to deal with everybody else's opinion about your relationship because it's being broadcast.
And you know what's the funny fucked up part about that is even if you're not saying nothing, you don't know what she's saying to other people and shit like that. And your girl could be the most secretive person, but she doesn't have you to lean on anymore. Like so, she don't have you to talk about the problems. So she might not be running your name through the mud. Maybe right. She can have friends that she calls her friends who don't like you.
Tell their version to other people.
It's like me whispering something to Rose, and then him whispering it to you, and there be like 10 other people in here, and you whispering that shit until it hits to like the 10th person. That story is gonna change when it gets to the last person. Right. It's the same thing with your girl. When y'all break up, she gonna tell a friend because she's venting. She's in a very vulnerable place. She just wants somebody to listen. The girlfriend who's gonna feel like my bitch hurt. She going through some shit. Let me tell you about this nigga, what he did. It's gonna be some exaggeration on that story. She may tell a motherfucker who she don't really fuck with, but she fucking. He gonna tell somebody else who knows somebody, be like, oh, this nigga did that and third. So by the time that the story get back to you, yo, I heard you ain't shit. I heard you was doing this at the third. Based on, like, yo, my nigga, we broke up because we just don't get along. And I could be ain't shit. But your version of the story may be way more fucking exaggerated than what actually happened in our situation. And that's because nobody's, like, we don't take, there's no privacy in relationships. Like, you gotta tell somebody. I've talked to 2 niggas about my breakup in the moment that it happened or whatever. Like, 2 niggas, because these are people who I trust, I confide in. I know when I tell these niggas this shit, it ain't like it's gonna be like spewed all across. My version of a story gonna go to somebody else's ears, get back to her and be like, well, you said, what about me? I did what? I did this and the third. Like, yo, if that's what you got it from the wrong sources, because my niggas ain't talking to nobody. But your friends could very well be, because they don't like me, they have a disdain for our relationship, dragging the shit out and making it worse than what it is. So that's the part of that depression, because now you walking around in a fucking haze. You don't know what to do with yourself. You trying to figure out, you're at a crossroads. Do you try to get your girl back? You continue to move on with life? Is it worth it? Like, does she care the same way? What's she doing? Like, think about how much time may pass. 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 months. She could be dating other people. You could be seeing somebody else. You could be trying to fill a void. And I don't give a fuck what nobody say that. The only way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else's shit is some bullshit. I ain't never been satisfied sexually, mentally, emotionally, spiritually with having sex with somebody right after a fucking breakup with somebody who I said I cared about or loved. Use a motherfucking conduit for this frustration I'm trying to get out. I'm probably fucking you thinking about her because I'm hurting. You not here for my pleasure. You here for my frustrations. So you might think, oh, this nigga fucking the shit out of me. Nah, bitch. I'm mad about the nigga that's fucking the shit out of my bitch. You just getting this work. Like, you getting the grunt of what's going on right now. You getting some bullshit dick. Like, you getting mad dick. You getting hostile dick right now. I'm keeping a buck. I'm keeping a buck, my nigga. But after you get past the point of depression, then you go to negotiations. Now you like, damn, yo, you have to do fake shit like butt dialer and shit like that. Like, hello? Nah, I wasn't trying to call you, but since we on the phone, like, yo, what you been up to? What you mean? Y'all ain't never had to fake the conversation? Or send like a text? I've done it, and I've had it done. Like, girls will send me like a text, and be like a smiley face and shit. The bitch was smiling at. We ain't even talk like 4 or 5 months. Like, yo, what's good? Oh, that was meant for somebody. That wasn't meant for nobody else. You know, you gotta search a nigga name, find his contact, and then send the message. But I've been there, because I'm trying to figure out, like, alright, man, like, fuck all this. You doing what you doing, I'm doing what I'm doing. I want whatever it is that we had back. There may have been a point where I understand there's some things that I need to work on. And hopefully in that time that we was away, you figure out some shit you need to work on, and now let's try to figure it out. But then even if that doesn't work, the last part of the breakup shit is acceptance. You just gotta get to a point where you understand that whatever y'all was doing, it ain't for you no more. It ain't for them no more. You gotta figure out things that you can do to keep yourself busy, whether it's working out, whether it's throwing yourself into your work, whether it's getting out and meeting other people and shit like that. You gotta be willing to take that risk, because whatever your plan was for how shit was supposed to go through the negotiation phase, if that fails, life gotta continue on. You can't die still living. And a relationship and a breakup will do that to you. You'll feel like you walking around in a fucking haze. You existing, but you a zombie. You don't want to get to know nobody. You don't want to chill with nobody. You don't want to figure out somebody new information and shit. Bitch, I'm tired of asking what your favorite color is. I know what her favorite color was. The fuck out of here. You like pink? All right, fuck out of here. She like motherfucking black. Like, that's her shit. So I'm only, like, you have to be able to come to terms and to grips with the fact that life goes on, and it feels like death because a part of you has died. That relationship has died. Something that you invested so much time in, so much energy, so much motherfucking, sometimes financially, sometimes, you know, just emotionally, spiritually. Like, I could have told you some shit I probably would have never told nobody else in this world about my life experiences and shit, but I trusted you enough to want to convey that information to you, knowing I was free of judgment and shit. Why I gotta do that with somebody else now? But I gotta accept that that's how life is, and that's gonna have to happen at some point.
Fact, you gotta accept it. Ain't nothing you can do but to accept.
And that's why breaking up is so fucking hard, man, because you gotta go through all these parallels of reinvention, re-identifying, coming to terms with being able to get over it, dealing with vices, dealing with heartache and pain, and like, it's just, that's why I don't want to keep recycling this cycle, because that in and of itself, that five piece part of how a breakup occurs and how you deal with it, imagine doing that over and over again after you put yourself into somebody's life, circumvented yourself, allow them to come into your life, and y'all tried to build, and then it's destroyed, and you got to do that over and over again. Like, unless you just don't have no conscience, unless you just don't have no real emotions or feelings and shit, maybe it's easy for you.
It's like somebody who does construction, right? And they got this land, and they build a house, right? But then you find out that the foundation's cracked, and the house falls, right? Mm-hmm. And then so that house is done with, right? Yeah. So then you build another house on the same land, and then you find out that the piping is wrong, and that fucks up the whole house, floods it out. Now you gotta tear that down and build it again. By the time you get to the fifth, sixth house, and you know you put all this work in building the house, and the sixth house falls down, how happy are you to start the seventh house?
Should have got insurance. Nah, I feel you. I feel you right.
That was a perfect analogy, because that's exactly what it feels like. It's like you get to a point where you keep building to destroy it, and you get exhausted.
Again, what you're saying is building to destroy. What he's saying, and I don't put words in your mouth, but what I think Rose is saying, that the foundation the foundation initially is cracked. So obviously we're gonna have to rebuild that house. But in the next house, the piping's bad. You might not have to tear the whole house down, but I get it. You tear the whole house down. But he's not building each house thinking about tearing it down. He's building each house thinking about building a home to stay in, to live in. That house just happens to not work after he figures it out. Like, and that's what I'm saying. That's the two parts. Because one of them is life. That's Rose talking about life. What you talking about is somebody on some, like, I just need to be in a relationship and I don't care who it's with, but it's gonna make me look good type stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this relationship, and if it don't work, oh well, I get another one. After, I think those two separate scenarios. I feel what you're saying though.
No, I just my thing is like I understand like people break up. Like shit don't always work out, man. Shit don't work out no matter. You can have the best laid intentions for a motherfucker, and things just go left. That's the process of the shit. Like that's just how it. That's life. But my thing is you shouldn't have to accept that as a norm. Like at some point in time you gotta have the wherewithal to stick it out with a motherfucker because everybody got their shit with them. Mm-hmm. My problems may be problems that you don't agree with. The next nigga can have worse problems than that. I could be a nigga who gonna tell you about yourself every time you fuck up because I'm trying to right your wrongs for the betterment of us. This other nigga could have a whole fucking addiction or baby mamas or kids and shit like that. So you're more susceptible to accept the fact that you don't have to deal with those situations because they don't adversely affect you than to deal with my criticism of what I think our relationship should be. That's what I'm saying. You gotta be able to pick and choose your battles and understand that nobody's gonna be perfect. Mm-hmm. I can get at you on the worst way or whatever. And some of this shit could be coming from a place of love, some of this shit could be coming from a place of hurt. But there are no perfect people. There are no perfect people. I don't pretend to be perfect. I don't pretend to carry myself like the individual that just has it all figured out. I got shit with me, but you got shit with you too. I'm accepting your shit because I love you. And that to me, that love after making a decision to be in your life as your man is gonna always override all the other bullshit. My mindset is always, have we exhausted all possibilities? Is there a way that we can figure this out? If not, what are the options outside of that? Because if all we're doing is breaking up and breaking up and breaking up, I'm just a nigga in your rotation at that point. You're just a female in my lineup. That shit gets tiresome, son. I don't see how people do it all the time. Let's be in a relationship with this nigga this year. 2 years later, we'll break up. Let me get with another nigga. I'll be with him for a year. Another year after that, I'll get with another nigga. Like, you keep trying motherfuckers on. You keep exuding all your motherfucking energy. All your good shit is going to motherfuckers that you feel like don't deserve it. But you probably ain't really gave them a real chance to figure out whether they was worth being in the first place or not.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on and on about it, man. But,
I'm tired, boss.
I mean, I feel you. I feel you. I'm tired too. I'm tired of going through that building process just for the house to fall. But we might have a part two, depending on bring some ladies back. I already got 2 ladies that would be perfect for this. They already hit me about being on, so. We might do a part 2 depending on what the people say. But yeah, I think we covered a lot of shit. I think a lot of people need to.
What's crazy, we covered a lot of shit, we ain't covered nothing. Now we talked about bro, but it's like there were some questions that I had. I'm sure some questions you had. But I had like, there's more things that I wanted to dissect about the breakup. Like a lot of this felt like, surface, but it felt like these are conversations that you know what I think about when I think about how we approach conversations in certain topics and shit like that? Like, there's conversations that's spoken but unsaid. Like, nobody knows. Like, when men go through a breakup, I imagine that most men feel like, oh, that nigga, he be straight, give him a couple of days, that nigga, he'll shake it off. And the women feel like the same way, like, oh, he invincible. Nigga, me telling you I'm leaving you don't hurt you like that. You ain't fucked up. You be alright. You got bitches, right? You got hoes, right? Like, we indestructible. That shit don't faze us.
Right.
And then when they go through it, it's a complete, it's a tear down for them. It's like breaking a woman down to build up a brand new woman. She got to come back so different, unorthodox from all the shit that she would normally be as who she was prior to the shit that caused her to feel like she has to do that. She has to take those steps so she can avoid that hurt, like in the long run and shit. So different, man. I feel like, I don't know. At this point, I'm just...
We're not allowed to feel.
Yeah,
we're not allowed to feel.
Men don't hurt.
Yeah, we're not allowed to feel.
Boys don't cry.
Yeah, You know, we're not allowed to, talk about feelings because you're being soft.
Speaking of feelings, I just want to point out now that this is.
I thought you was about to break out in the LMA.
Nope. So deep. Nah. I was just about to say, I like the idea of this podcast. I'm glad we did this.
And respect.
Yeah, I mean,
respect.
Keep it a stack though, because we've been talking a lot about relationships and the different parallels. When we did the self-hate joint, when we did the self-hate joint, we did this joint. I like when we do these talks because I feel like people related to them and they were able to reach out and drop some positive comments. So again, I'm glad we got to do this. I'm glad we do stuff of substance. I'm glad we do stuff of entertainment. I'm glad we do all that.
People want to chastise you for like being so like vulnerable and being able to be like spoken on the mic. I was talking to my nigga Rel and he was like, I know like talking about breakups and shit, especially like at the way you are, like in life, given certain situations and shit like that. It's like a pain point for you. Like you can't get on there and really speak the truth without people trying to attach to this situation, that situation, the third. He's like, but sometimes you gotta use those moments where you're not thinking about a camera, you're not thinking about a mic, you're not thinking about who's gonna view some shit, and just allow it to be like a certain point in therapy. Because in therapy, like you get to talk to a person who doesn't necessarily talk back. They ask you pinpointed questions, trying to probe you to get you to open up more about what's going on. But then when you're in a situation where you're around a group of friends, it's more about being as vocal and surreal as you can about what your own experiences are and the things that I go through, the things that you go through. Somebody else is gonna be able to look at that and be like, damn man, I feel just like that. And I couldn't say it before because I didn't want to deal with the criticism. I didn't want to deal with the judgment. I didn't want to deal with niggas thinking I'm weak. I would never think nobody would think I'm weak because I can get on here and speak my truth without feeling like it's gonna cause me to be like looked at as a certain type of man amongst other men. I ain't never been the type of man to give a fuck about what another man thinks about how I feel about shit. That don't run me. It don't move me. So I would hope that another nigga who is as solid or as strong as people believe him to be can at some point in time take this shit in the same regard and be like, you know what? It's alright to be emotional. It's alright to be transparent. It's alright to be, aware of your own flaws and to put that shit out there so nobody can't use it against you. Rel kept saying like, allow yourself to be open enough to where you tell your own truth so nobody can't speak their truth about you that they think that other people should know.
Charlamagne say all the time, he say, live your truth so people can't use it against you, which is facts. Because if you're not living your truth, people are going to find your truth and use it against you. If you live your truth, they can't use it against you because you're embracing it, you're living it.
I ain't gonna act like all my ducks in a row, bro. They ain't.
Ain't nobody got this shit figured out, man.
And I find solace in the fact that, I'm young. I don't want to act like I'm young. I'll be 30 this year.
I'm young.
But to me, 30 young. I plan on living till like I'm 80, so I ain't even reached the halfway point.
Nigga, you only 30?
Yep.
God damn.
So, I mean, I don't want to act like I know everything. I know a lot.
Yeah,
but
wet behind the ears.
Young
whipping strap
ass
ass nigga. Shit ass nigga.
That's crazy.
I'm fucking with that.
But nah,
niggas is peaking at 40, bro.
I find I'm cool with knowing now I'm at least evaluating my relationships and I'm learning from my relationships. And I'm still confused as hell about my relationships.
Life shit.
Right? So I'm comfortable knowing that. But I think, again, I'm glad we had the conversation because now I get to see you presented me with a situation that I feel like someone that I've dated probably viewed me in. And then you over here giving me the knowledge to know what to not be disrespectful in my breakup, you feel me, and moving forward. So again, I'm gonna draw from both of y'all experiences on this, and I'm gonna use those, and I'm gonna move forward. And I'm glad we did this show.
Good shit, man.
Yeah. Deep Opinionated Podcast. We'll see you next time.